Douluo Dalu. Life or Death Pact. It begins with a forced kiss to Qian Renxue. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 576. The Son of Fortune, a Yuao. Shu Han goes to the lower realm. Chu Ye did not object to his children going to the Douluo mortal realm for training. In his opinion, this was a necessary part of life. If one stayed in the god realm for a lifetime, became a god, ranked in the godly position, and gained eternal life, then life would be too short and not rich enough. Brother, when do you plan to go down to the mortal realm? Qian Renxue asked. I will leave after I defeat the strongest evil creature in that plane. Shu Han was still thinking that after defeating the red level evil creature, he would continue to challenge the stronger gold level evil creature, and then the final king gold level evil creature. After defeating the strongest evil creature, he would pass the level and then go down to the mortal realm. This was his goal after entering the plane. If he didn't complete it, he would leave. It would be very uncomfortable to give up halfway. So Shu Han stayed in the god realm for a few days, and then went to the plane to fight the evil creatures, but Qian Renxue required that Shu Han must come out and go home every once in a while. In this way, time passed quickly, and after a period of time in Shu Han's evil creature, he had defeated the gold level evil creature, and his combat perception and combat consciousness was still growing rapidly at an extremely fast speed. Gold level evil creatures are already equivalent to priests, and have the combat capabilities and combat awareness of most third level gods. The strongest king gold level combat awareness is equivalent to the level of second level gods and third level gods. And 1 year in the evil world is 10 years in the god realm, and 10 years in the god realm is 3,650 years in the mortal realm. Soon, Shu Han had spent more than a year in the evil world. Now Shu Han is 12.5 years old. He finally succeeded in defeating the strongest king gold level evil creature in this world and successfully passed the level. Although his soul power has not been improved much in the evil world, Shu Han's combat ability has also completely transformed and become extremely powerful. At only 12.5 years old, his combat ability, combat awareness, and combat skills are already perfectly equivalent to the level of the god realm, close to the first level god. In other words, if the strength, speed, physique, soul power, and mental power are the same, no one below the first level god can be Shu Han's opponent in close combat. Although he is currently 12 years old and has only a soul power of level 29, it is very fast and simple for him to improve his soul power, but it is very difficult to improve his combat awareness. That requires countless years of training and understanding. You have to know that when Chu Ye was in his 20s, his combat ability and consciousness were far inferior to Shu Han's current ones. Therefore, the experience in the evil world undoubtedly laid a solid foundation for Shu Han. Practice the foundation to the peak, and as the soul power increases, the strength will become even stronger, allowing him to challenge the great realm by this alone. This will undoubtedly be of great help to Shu Han when he goes to the mortal world next. At this moment, Shu Han has returned to the dragon god's domain. Dad, since I want to go to the lower world to train, it is naturally best if no one knows that I have a good background. If people know that I am your son, then this lower world experience will be meaningless. So, I asked Dad to seal my martial soul like Qian Renxue did at the time. Seal the light attribute of my sword of gods and demons martial soul, and keep the dark attribute. Wait until you break through the 100th level to become a god and then lift the seal. In addition, I don't want artifacts, soul bones, etc. I want to get them with my own hands. Shu Han said confidently and courageously. Okay, good boy, fine, we won't give you anything, and we will seal the light attribute of your martial soul as you wish. Don't blame us for not giving you good things if you suffer in the lower world in the future. Chu Ye said, and immediately took action. He sealed the light attribute of Shu Han's sword martial soul. The martial soul between gods and demons was immediately downgraded to the top weapon martial soul, the magic sword martial soul. But when can the martial soul seal be broken? Chu Ye did not do as Shu Han wanted, and waited until he became a god to lift the seal. He set the seal at level 96, and when Shu Han broke through to level 96, the martial soul seal could be lifted. Chu Ye concealed this from Shu Han and did not tell him. Thanks, Dad, then let's go. Shu Han couldn't wait and wanted to start his new adventure immediately. Let's go. Chu Ye took Shu Han to the gate of the divine world leading to the Douluo mortal realm. But at this time, suddenly a golden light rushed straight into the sky in the direction of the blue immortal realm, and even directly reached it, breaking through the clouds of the divine world, and appeared not far from where Chu Ye was. Chu Ye's face changed slightly, and a complex emotion flashed in his eyes. Could it be that the Son of Destiny appeared? Dad, what's wrong? Seeing Chu Ye's face change and looking at one direction, Shu Han asked in confusion. The golden light of destiny that reached the top of the God realm can only be seen by a strong man like him at the God King level. Han. There is a new star on the Douluo Continent, which is coming into being, and his age should be about the same as yours. Chu Ye sighed. He knew that after 10,000 years on the Douluo Continent, a son of destiny with excellent luck would appear. This person was named Douluo. But in the day-to-day life in the God realm, Chu Ye actually didn't calculate the time carefully, and didn't expect that the time when his son Shu Han went down to the world was exactly the time when the son of destiny Douluo appeared. And Chu Ye actually had such a guess before, whether Douluo would appear. After all, in his memory, Douluo was a descendant of the Dai family of the Xingluo royal family. However, after the Wuhan Empire unified the continent, all the people in the Dai family died, Dai Mubai died, and Davis was killed long ago. So, he wondered whether Douluo would appear. But he finally came. However, the current Douluo must no longer be Douluo of the Dai family of the White Tiger Duke. Born in response to the destiny. His luck is so strong that you can feel it in the God realm. There is such a person with such luck in Douluo. Dad, who is he? Shu Han was very surprised, and he also knew very well the value of the 4 words born in response to the destiny. In other words, this person's luck is very against the sky, and he, Shu Han, is about to go down to the world and may have a connection with him in the future, and may meet him. Maybe he will become a friend, or maybe he will become an enemy. So he cares very much about who has such luck. But Chu Ye did not tell Shu Han about Douluo's identity. He just silently withdrew his gaze, looked at his son and said, Han, go, don't care about the person who was born for the destiny, just do what you should do, okay? I know, Dad. Shu Han agreed, but how could he not care in his heart? I want to see who the son of destiny that Dad is talking about is. Dad, I'm leaving. Then go, Han, your father will wait for you to come back in the God realm. Chapter 577. The O family. Douluo. The two of them headed to the Xingdo Great Forest at the same time. Yes, Shu Han immediately entered the divine passage to the Douluo mortal realm that Chu Ye had opened for him without hesitation. After his son left, Chu Ye immediately began to try to see clearly the fate of Douluo in the golden light of luck. Because the Douluo continent 10,000 years later is already different from the 10,000 years later in Chu Ye's memory, so Douluo's future fate may also be completely different from what Chu Ye remembered. After all, in Chu Ye's memory, Douluo had 2 major plugins, the Snow Emperor and the Ice Emperor, who were now Chu Ye's gods and have come to the God realm, so many things are different. He wanted to see what path Douluo would eventually take and what kind of intersection he would have with his son Shu Han. But Douluo's fate was still shrouded in fog, so Chu Ye could not see through it. Forget it. Seeing that he could not see through it, Chu Ye did not care anymore and quickly returned to the Dragon God realm. On the other side, after Shu Han passed through the divine passage for an unknown period of time, he finally descended and came to the Douluo Continent. Shu Han's new adventure has begun now. Shu Han appeared in the south of the continent, and the south of the Xingdo Great Forest was not far away. I, Shu Han, am back in Douluo Continent. Shu Han smiled, feeling the breath of the mortal world, which was not bad, a familiar taste. He is now 12 years old, and he was 6 years old when he left the mortal world, so in fact, for Shu Han, he has only been away for 6 years. But in these 6 years, Douluo Continent has been 10,000 years, and everything has changed. It's time to take a good look at the Douluo Continent that has been 10,000 years. What will it become? Shu Han was in a surging mood and set off with anticipation. He would definitely go back to the Spirit Hall and go back to his former home to take a good look, but he planned to travel around the continent first and take a look at the current continent. At the same time, in the Xingluo city of the southern generation of the Douluo Continent Spirit Empire, Douluo, who had awakened his spirit, was angrily determined to leave the O family where he grew up. Get out of the way. From now on, I, Douluo, am no longer a member of the O family. I have nothing to do with you anymore. Douluo looked stubborn, and with his luggage on his back, he was about to rush out of the O family. The guards who blocked the door of the family were shocked by the flashing light of Douluo's martial spirit eyes. The next second, Douluo had disappeared in the O family. Liu Bao's life experience and fate in this life were also similarly miserable. He was either from the Dai family of the White Tiger Duke or the O family. The O family was a soul master family that rose 500 years ago. It was also considered a soul master family close to the upper level. There were strong soul masters at the peak level in the family. It was quite famous and had a high status in Douluo city. However, Liu Bao's life experience was still not satisfactory. He was the illegitimate son of the current head of the O family, and his mother was nameless. Therefore, Liu Bao's status in the O family was also extremely humble, and he was treated unfairly in various ways. Until her mother died, Liu Bao was completely disappointed with this cold and ruthless family. He wanted to completely sever ties with his family and leave the O family. Liu Bao, who left the O family, embarked on the path of a soul master alone, determined to become a powerful soul master. However, Liu Bao's own talent was not strong. He was already over 11 years old, and his soul power had just reached level 10, meeting the conditions for absorbing one ring. But Liu Bao, who was born in a humble family and left his family alone, had no money, no people, and no background. He could only set foot on the Douluo Great Forest alone and rely on his own strength to obtain soul rings. Although Liu Bao knew that it was very dangerous to go to the Douluo Great Forest alone, he was desperate and went forward, because without anyone to help, he had to rely on himself to obtain his first circle of soul rings and then become a soul master. With only one soul ring, I can go from a soul warrior to a soul master. Liu Bao, you can do it. Liu Bao encouraged himself and began his journey to the Douluo Great Forest. A long journey, over mountains and ridges, and keep moving forward. After many days. On the other side, Chu Ye, who had been in the lower world for several days, was playing and traveling around several cities on the continent. When he saw the world 10,000 years later, he was shocked. Has the Douluo Continent changed so much in just 10,000 years? Is this the era of soul guide technology that my sister mentioned? Chu Ye deeply felt the progress and significance of the soul guide technology era. He suddenly felt a little bit like he had come from ancient times to the modern times. It was very strange, but it had a familiar taste. The Douluo Continent was no longer the world that Chu Ye was familiar with, but he still had no great interest in soul guides. He disdained to spend time studying soul guides or being a soul guide. His own strength was the kingly way, and everything else was external. The pursuit of the limit of his own strength was the way Chu Ye wanted to go. After traveling around the continent for a few days, Chu Ye's soul power also easily broke through from the peak of level 29 to level 30. I've reached level 30 before I know it. Let's go to the Douluo Great Forest first. After I get the third soul ring, I'll go back to Douluo City. Chu Ye thought to himself, and immediately headed in the direction of the Douluo Great Forest. In this way, Chu Ye and Liu Bao were in different places, but they were heading in the same direction, heading to the Douluo Great Forest at the same time. It is likely that they will arrive at the outer area of the Douluo Great Forest at the same time. 2 days later. Finally, this is the Douluo Great Forest. Liu Bao stayed in this direction and entered the entrance of the Douluo Great Forest. There was a stone arch in front, and there was a stone tablet next to the door. There was a line of words engraved on the stone tablet. You cannot take the initiative to hunt soul beasts at will unless you obtain soul rings. This was the rule set by Chu Ye back then, and it is still being enforced today, 10,000 years later. Most of the younger generations of soul masters also keep this rule in mind. Liu Bao took a look and kept it in mind. Then he took a deep breath and mustered up the courage to step into it. Less than half an hour after Liu Bao entered the Douluo Great Forest, Chu Ye also appeared at this intersection. He also saw the words engraved on the stone tablet. He knew that this was the rule left by his father. He smiled and quickly entered it. After Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's group of gods ascended to the god realm, the continent has developed for tens of thousands of years. The Soul Master group has long been much stronger than that era, and the number of Soul Masters has also increased a lot. However, the Soul Beasts in Douluo Continent are still very comprehensive and prosperous. Not only are they not to the point of extinction, but the number of Soul Beasts is still as large as it was back then. It is precisely because of the rules set by Chu Ye that the soul beasts have enough space to develop, reproduce, and grow. At the same time, Chapter 578. The continent's structure 10,000 years later, Chu Ye and Liu Bao meet at the same time. After Qian Renxue entered the lower world for 4,000 years, the current Douluo continent has also changed a lot in the past 6,000 years. A lot of things happened in the development process 6 years ago, which led to the splitting of two empires in the entire Douluo Continent, which was originally ruled by the Wuhun Empire. One is called the Tianhun Empire and the other is called the Wuling Empire. The Tianhun Empire is located in the northwest of Douluo Continent, and the Wuling Empire is located in the northeast of Douluo Continent. Below the Tianhun Empire and the Wuling Empire, to the south, is the Wuhun Empire ruled by the six winged angels. The Wuhun Empire continues to the southwest and is the Sunday and Moon Empire connected to the Sunday and Moon continent. So far, in the era of 10,000 years later, the Douluo mortal world has been divided into 4 empires. The strongest national power is still the Wuhun Empire, and the Sunday and Moon Empire is second only to the Wuhun Empire. As for the Tianhun Empire and the Wuling Empire, which were originally split from the Wuhun Empire, they are now the weakest. At present, the 4 empires are in a stage of peaceful development, without causing wars, and at most there are small frictions on the border. Back in the Qingdou Great Forest, Chu Ye was moving forward cautiously, while also appreciating the scenery and things along the way. He had already encountered many soul beasts, but they were basically herbivorous soul beasts that were not aggressive, and they were all soul beasts that were less than 10 years old. Chu Ye, who entered the soul beast world for the first time, was full of curiosity about everything, but he also knew that he would be attacked by fierce soul beasts at any time, so he did not dare to be careless once. On the contrary, Chu Han, who also entered the Qingdou Great Forest alone, was much more relaxed. He already had the combat literacy and combat awareness and ability equivalent to a first-level god. Chu Han's own physical strength was also very strong. Not only that, his sword intent was also very superb. At the age of 12, he hit the sword intent of the intermediate peak, and was only one step away from the advanced sword intent. Master the divine and demonic swordsmanship of Chu Ye's true teaching. As long as the soul beast is not over 10,000 years old, it cannot threaten Chu Han now, so he is basically invincible in this outer area. Soon, Chu Ye, who was gradually going deeper and deeper into the cave in search of soul rings, was finally spotted by a very aggressive soul beast. The soul beast was hiding behind a tree, staring at Chu Ye's back. Its eyes narrowed slightly, and then a greedy killing intent emerged. The next second, it quickly ran towards Chu Ye. Chu Ye's awakened martial soul was the eye. His original martial soul, the spirit eye, was a spiritual martial soul, so his spiritual power would be higher than that of other soul warriors. He soon felt that a soul beast was approaching. Chu Ye immediately became alert and looked around. At this time, the soul beast had already come to the top of the tree next to him. Roar! The soul beast roared and jumped down from the tree, waving its sharp claws and clawing at Chu Ye. That is, Chu Ye saw its appearance clearly. It was a primate soul beast with 10 years of cultivation, a wind baboons. He rolled over in extreme embarrassment to avoid it. But the wind baboons was extremely fast, and the sneak attack failed. It immediately launched a series of attacks on Chu Ye. It kept waving its claws to attack. So fast. Is this a soul beast? Chu Ye could only run and hide, and for a while he was unable to cope with the fierce attack of the wind baboons. But Chu Ye's speed was not as fast as that of the wind attribute soul beast. The wind baboon's fierce pursuit finally knocked him to the ground with one move, and the dagger in his hand fell to the side. Damn it. Chu Ye quickly rushed to the dagger and wanted to pick it up again. This was the only weapon he had. But at this time, Chu Ye's body was grabbed by the chasing wind baboons. Let go. Let me go. Chu Ye struggled desperately, but no matter how he struggled, he could not break free from the restraint of the wind baboon's palm. He was in a hurry to survive, and stabbed the wind baboon's hand with a dagger between the limits, and then he broke free, but Chu Ye could no longer resist the attack of the wind baboons again. It's over. Am I going to die in its hands like this? Chu Ye looked at the wind baboons, who was about to attack him, with a bit of despair and unwillingness. He was no longer able to resist. Here is an explanation. The main reason why Chu Ye was able to kill the wind baboons was because he hit the white tiger dagger, but now he was just using an ordinary dagger. Just when the wind baboons was about to kill Chu Ye with one claw, a black-clothed boy holding a black magic sword ran over quickly. Just as the wind baboon's claws were about to claw at Chu Ye's chest, the black-clothed boy flashed like a black light. First soul skill, magic sword slash. Puff. In a split second, the wind baboon's head was cut off instantly. Bang! The wind baboon's body fell to the ground, and its head fell to the ground. The large amount of blood splashed on Chu Ye's face. He was stunned and looked at the black-clothed boy in front of him with his back to him, holding a black long sword. So strong. Liu Yao swallowed his throat. He only had this feeling, strong. Very strong. Liu Yao, who was saved, breathed a sigh of relief and said to the black-clothed boy in front of him with great gratitude, "Thank you for saving me." Shu Han put away his martial spirit and slowly turned around. Seeing that Shu Han's face was so young, he looked about the same age as himself. Liu Yao was even more shocked and shocked. So young. He seems to be about the same age as me, but he is so powerful. He easily killed the soul beast in front of him with one blow, and even if I tried my best to fight, I almost died at its hands. The gap is too big. Liu Yao was shocked. No need to thank me, it's just a piece of cake. Shu Han also took a look at Liu Yao in front of him, and he could tell the other party's soul power level at a glance. You're a level 10 soul warrior, and you dare to come to the Douluo Great Forest alone to obtain soul rings. You're really brave. Liu Yao silently clenched his fists and replied, I have no way. No one helps me. I can only rely on myself. Really? I'm sorry. The situation was quite urgent just now. This soul beast was accidentally killed by me in seconds, so you may not be able to absorb its soul ring. Shu Han said. It's okay. If you hadn't saved me, I would have died in the hands of this soul beast just now. What's the point of absorbing soul rings if I'm dead? I'll find another one if this one is gone. Thank you for saving my life. Liu Yao didn't care about this question. He only felt grateful to Shu Han. This was a life-saving grace. He looked at the 10-year soul ring on the winged baboons that was about to dissipate, and sighed. Liu Yao knew that if the soul ring of this winged baboons could not be absorbed, it would be difficult in the future. Chapter 579. The powerful Shu Han shocked Liu Yao. Shu Han looked at the sky and saw that it was almost dark. The Douluo Great Forest would be even more dangerous once it entered the night. Shu Han looked at the injuries on Liu Yao's body again. He was still exhausted. After a slight hesitation of 2 seconds, he said, the 10-year spirit ring is too weak, and the winged baboons is not suitable for a spiritual spirit master like you. If you don't mind, follow me. I also want to obtain spirit rings. I will help you hunt one on the way. Liu Yao was very happy to hear this. A 10-year winged baboons almost killed him. If he encountered an attack from a spirit beast at this time, he would be really dead. Not to mention obtaining spirit rings, he might not even be able to walk out alive. Liu Yao was very excited and said, Can I? But I have nothing to give you in return. It's just a matter of convenience. What reward do you want? Just follow me closely and don't lose me. I'm too lazy to spend time looking for you. Shu Han said calmly. Thank you. Liu Yao immediately stood up and walked behind Shu Han cautiously, because he could feel that Shu Han was a little cold and aloof, not like the kind of enthusiastic person. People with this kind of personality will make people feel that they are not so easy to approach. But Shu Han is Liu Yao's savior after all, and now he also needs Shu Han's help. The two are currently on the same path, and it is not good to be too unfamiliar with each other. So Liu Yao took the lead in breaking the silence between the two. Well, hello friend, my name is Liu Yao, what's your name? Shu Han, Shu for clear, Han for cold. Shu Han. Liu Yao silently chanted Shu Han's reputation in his heart, and then asked curiously. Shu Han, I see that you were about the same age as me, but you are much stronger than me. You should be from a big clan on the mainland, right? Or are you a genius from the Spirit Hall Academy? Neither, but I should join the Spirit Hall Academy soon after obtaining the 3rd soul ring. Shu Han's next plan is to join the Spirit Hall Academy. Neither? Then what about you? Before Liu Yao could finish his words, there was another movement around him. A hissing sound. Soon, a 100-year-old mandrake snake appeared, extremely ferocious, and crawled over frantically. This is a 100-year-old soul beast? Liu Yao was shocked. Well, about 200 years, don't panic, back off. Shu Han said calmly. What, a 200-year-old soul beast? Shu Han, are you sure you can handle it? Liu Yao behind Shu Han said nervously. Only 200 years. Only 200 years. Only? Hearing Shu Han say this lightly, Liu Yao's head was buzzing, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching. He was almost killed by a 10-year-old just now, and 200 years was just that. Liu Yao felt a little stimulated and shocked. How strong is he? Liu Yao couldn't see through it at all, because Shu Han's strength didn't show and he saved him just now. At this moment, Shu Han released the magic sword martial spirit again, and 2 circles of yellow and yellow soul rings appeared under his feet. A 2-ring soul master. He came to the Xingdou Great Forest to obtain soul rings, which means he obtained the 3rd soul ring. He will soon become a 3-ring soul master. Amazing. Too amazing. He is only 1 year older than me and has reached level 30. Liu Yao exclaimed inwardly. At this time, Shu Han had already made a move, and a terrifying sword intent instantly rose from his body. God and Demon Sword Technique, the first style, Sunday and Moon Demon God. Hush. Bang. Tear it. The terrifying blow directly severely injured the Mandragora snake. Shu Han deliberately avoided the fatal weakness and did not kill it, otherwise the Mandragora snake would have been killed instantly. The Mandragora snake was frightened by the easy serious injury and turned around and fled in panic. Too strong. Liu Yao was stunned, but he immediately reacted. A 200-year-old soul beast. Shu Han, I want to absorb its soul ring, Liu Yao said, a little anxious to catch up. 200 years was already very powerful for him, and he didn't care about whether it was suitable or not. For someone like him who had no background at all, this was already a very rare opportunity. But Liu Yao's move was stopped by Shu Han. He rolled his eyes and said, Is it necessary to care so much about a 200-year-old soul beast? With your current physical condition, absorbing a soul beast that is close to 300 years old is not a problem. Since I said I would take you to find a soul ring, by the way, I won't be so perfunctory. Liu Yao's physique is still relatively poor at present, and he can't compare with other soul master teenagers of the same age. Although he is the son of the famous Liu family's patriarch, Liu Yao, who was not well received, basically ate bad food since he was a child, and it was not very nutritious. Naturally, his physique cannot be compared with other soul master teenagers from rich families, so Shu Han judged that at most 300 years is enough. Okay, seeing Shu Han say that, Liu Yao no longer obsessed with the 200-year-old mandrake snake. He didn't expect Shu Han to bother to find a better one for him. After all, they were not. Liu Yao thought Shu Han might just hunt a 100-year-old snake. The two continued to move forward. Unknowingly, it was completely dark. They stopped moving forward and planned to find a place to temporarily camp for the night. Shu Han took out 2 tents from the Space Soul Guide and began to assemble that tent by himself. At the same time, he said to Liu Yao, Liu Yao, go and sprinkle some snake repellent powder. Snake repellent powder? I don't have it. What? You don't have snake repellent powder? You don't have the most basic things to prepare for entering the soul beast habitat, and you dare to come in? I am convinced Shu Han was a little speechless, so he had to take out a bag and threw it to Liu Yao. Take it. Liu Yao took the snake repellent powder, shook his head and smiled awkwardly, and then began to sprinkle the powder. There happened to be a stream next to the camp. After Liu Yao spread the snake repellent powder, he took the initiative to go to the stream to fish and catch fish. Liu Yao is an expert at fishing and grilling fish. His grilling skills are so delicious. As Shu Han set up the tent, Liu Yao had already caught several fish and built a fire to grill fish. Soon, the fragrance had filled Shu Han's nose. He sniffed. It smells so good. Gurgle. Shu Han, who was not hungry at first, suddenly felt a little hungry, and his stomach growled twice. His eyes drifted to Liu Yao's grilled fish from time to time. Soon, Liu Yao cooked the fish and took the initiative to hand one to Shu Han. Shu Han, let's eat together. Thank you. Shu Han walked over without being polite, picked up one and started to chew it. His eyes suddenly lit up. Not bad. Liu Yao, it's delicious. Chapter 580. The Qian Renxue silkworm arrives. Liu Yao's million-year soul ring. Liu Yao smiled and said, I caught several. I'll continue grilling them. Yeah. The two finally got to know each other better in this process. They started chatting while eating grilled fish. Shu Han and Liu Yao laughed from time to time. The time spent eating grilled fish turned the relationship between the two from strangers to friends. Eat and drink enough and go to sleep, Yao. Tomorrow I will find you a soul ring that is most suitable for you and the best age that you can bear. Shu Han said with a smile, and went to sleep in his tent. Thank you. Looking at Shu Han's back, Liu Yao was a little touched, because Shu Han was the only man who made him feel warm, except for his mother. He also went back to his tent to sleep. The two gradually fell asleep. In the middle of the night, Liu Yao suddenly had to pee and walked out of the tent, ready to pee by the stream. But at this moment, a sudden extremely cold breath was spreading rapidly. What's going on? It's suddenly so cold around here. Before Liu Yao could react, the ground around him had already frozen. Soon, he saw a big, white, fleshy bug appearing in front of him. What the hell? The next second, Liu Yao's body instantly froze and was completely frozen. Then he gradually lost consciousness and fell down. This big, white, fleshy bug was the Qian Renxue silkworm, which had cultivated for 1,000,000 years. It had been eyeing Liu Yao for a long time, but it was difficult for it to take action because Shu Han was always beside it. It took advantage of Shu Han's sleep to get its chance. Finally found you a human with spiritual attributes, but you were too weak, so weak. Why is your body so fragile? At this moment, the Qian Renxue silkworm had already entered Liu Yao's spiritual sea. Looking at the fragile face of Liu Yao, it couldn't help but complain. At this moment, another colorless breath appeared in Liu Yao's spiritual sea. When Qian Renxue silkworm noticed it, he frowned and became alert. What a thing! How dare you snatch people from me? Soon, a voice rang out from the colorless breath. Holding the sun and the moon and picking the stars, there is no one like me in the world. The two sides soon started a spiritual battle in Liu Yao's spiritual sea. Although Qian Renxue silkworm was weak, its mental power was incomparably strong. After a wave of fighting, the colorless breath suddenly dimmed. The owner of this colorless breath in Liu Yao's spiritual sea was a person from another world. Electrolux, the holy god of death who came to Douluo Continent because of the shattering of his spiritual consciousness. Because of the shattering of his spiritual consciousness, he can only temporarily rely on Liu Yao, and Electrolux will also become one of Liu Yao's great helps in the future. This bastard's power neither conflicts with my power nor is it affected by me. Seeing that Alex's aura had receded, Qian Renxue silkworm no longer paid attention to him. The most urgent thing now was to finish what he had to do first. Forget about it for now, let's merge quickly. In this way, Qian Renxue silkworm merged with Liu Yao without him noticing, and eventually became Liu Yao's first soul ring, and also that first intelligent soul ring. When Liu Yao woke up, he also woke up in his own sea of spirit. Soon, Liu Yao had communicated with Qian Renxue silkworm, and Qian Renxue silkworm began to introduce himself proudly. Remember, brother, I'm the only 1,000,000-year soul beast in the Douluo Continent now. It is also that first intelligent soul ring in history. It's Qian Renxue silkworm. 100,000,000-year soul beast. Qian Renxue silkworm. Call me brother Qian Meng. Okay, brother Qian Meng, you said you're a 1,000,000-year soul beast? Then why did you choose me? Liu Yao looked puzzled. He knew that he had a weak talent and was not good in all aspects. How could such a powerful 1,000,000-year soul beast choose him? Why didn't he choose the genius Shu Han? He felt that Shu Han was better than him and more suitable for Qian Renxue silkworm. And he just happened to lack a soul ring to absorb. Do you think I want to choose you? Although the boy with you is not a spiritual soul master, his spiritual power is extremely outstanding. He is the strongest spiritual power among the 2-ring soul masters I have ever seen. There is no doubt that he is more suitable for me than you. But that boy makes me feel very weird. I can't control him. If I merge with him, I'm afraid, cough cough. Anyway, I have no choice but to choose you, otherwise, my life will end. In short, the process is too tortuous. I will tell you later. Compared with Liu Yao, Qian Renxue silkworm's inner best person is undoubtedly more inclined to Shu Han. Although Shu Han is not a spiritual soul master, his spiritual power is enough to meet its fusion requirements. Moreover, he has strong talent and terrifying physical strength. At the same time, the foundation is very good. Qian Renxue silkworm has lived for so long and has seen countless human geniuses. In addition to Qian Renxue, the daughter of dragon god Chu Ye 6,000 years ago, Shu Han can be said to be a very remarkable human genius he has seen. But Qian Renxue silkworm also feels that Shu Han is not simple, with a sense of mystery, a weirdness that it cannot see, and the most important point is that its sixth sense tells itself that if it merges with Shu Han, it feels that it cannot control Shu Han. If it is not done well, it will be controlled by Shu Han. It may even be controlled by Shu Han, become part of Shu Han's power, obey Shu Han, and even suppress and unequal between status relations. And Liu Yao Qian Renxue silkworm feels that it is easy to control. After merging with Liu Yao, its status must be leveraged, and it can allow Liu Yao to arrange Liu Yao's life growth plan according to his ideas and plans. It exists as a superior. This is the most important reason why Qian Renxue silkworm chose Liu Yao. It chose one that is easy to control. Anyway, with its ability, it is confident that it can cultivate Liu Yao into a strong man. But it was a million-year-old soul beast after all, so it naturally couldn't argue with Chu Ye that he couldn't control Shu Han, etc. Which was a matter of identity. Qian Renxue's silkworm immediately changed the subject, letting Chu Ye look around in the sky. Look, they are the 10 layers of seals I set, and they are also the power of your first soul ring that I gave you. Your body with the first soul ring now can only withstand the soul ring of a soul beast of 400 years at most, so the actual power of your first soul ring is 400 years. When you break through in the future, as your body's tolerance increases, the age of the soul ring will also increase, and the same is true for other soul rings in the future. Qian Renxue's silkworm began to explain. Chu Ye was very surprised to hear this. The power and age of soul rings can actually change. Chapter 581 Shu Han. Chu Ye, what do you mean? Of course, I'm a million-year-old soul beast. The wisdom soul ring I transformed into can not only evolve according to your physical condition, but also give you 4 soul skills. However, I don't have soul bones for you, but I can give you an additional martial soul. Qian Renxue said proudly. The first soul skill has 4 soul skills, and I can add another martial soul. In this way, can't I become an extremely rare twin martial soul master on the continent? Chu Ye was very happy to hear this. However, I gave you a nice attributed martial soul, but it has no form yet. When you absorb the first ice attributed soul ring, your martial soul will be finalized. So, you should listen to my advice more when absorbing soul rings in the future. After a few words, Chu Ye was sent out of the Sea of Spirit by Qian Renxue's silkworm, and then Chu Ye woke up from reality. In this way, Chu Ye obtained the most important and most helpful plugin in his life, the wisdom soul ring of Qian Renxue's silkworm. A million-year-old first soul ring not only has 4 skills, but the power of the soul ring will also increase with the increase of physical strength, and it can also give a nice martial soul. Because the Qian Renxue's silkworm has imposed a seal, although it is currently a 400-year-old soul ring, the color displayed by Chu Ye's first soul ring is just an ordinary 10-year white soul ring. At the same time, he can only advertise that the first soul ring is a 10-year white soul ring, and he cannot say that he has 4 soul skills, but only 1 soul skill. Therefore, in the eyes of others, Chu Ye's first soul ring is now a circle of 10-year white soul rings. Chu Ye slowly woke up, feeling the power of the soul ring in his body at this moment, and he was in a good mood. The only thing that made him a little helpless was that he didn't know how to explain it to Shu Han after he woke up. Chu Ye couldn't tell anyone this secret yet. Well, let's wait until Shu Han wakes up. Chu Ye sighed in his heart. He looked at the current sky and saw that it was about to dawn, so he didn't sleep and sat down to practice for a while. 2 hours later. In the morning, around 8 o'clock, Shu Han finally woke up. He walked out of the tent and said to Chu Ye with a face full of energy, "Yu Dao, why are you up so early? Get ready, we should continue our journey. Today, I will find you the best 100-year soul ring that suits you." Chu Ye was a little embarrassed and didn't know how to explain it, but he had already absorbed the first soul ring, and he could not hide it, so he decided to tell the truth first. "Hey, Shu Han, I have absorbed the first soul ring last night." Shu Han was stunned when he heard it. "Huh? What did you say? You have absorbed the first soul ring last night? What soul beast's soul ring is it and how many years old?" Chu Ye released his soul ring, and a roll of white soul ring appeared under his feet. "My first soul ring is a 10-year soul ring from a spiritual soul beast." Seeing that Chu Ye absorbed a circle of white garbage 10-year soul ring, Shu Han's face turned dark. Last night, Shu Han had already treated Chu Ye as a friend. He also promised that he would find a Chu Ye 100-year soul beast that was the most suitable for Chu Ye to absorb. But now, Chu Ye actually absorbed a 10-year soul ring by himself. Shu Han said in a deep voice, "Chu Ye, what do you mean by this? Didn't I tell you that I would help you find a 100-year soul ring that suits you, but now you take the initiative to absorb a 10-year garbage soul ring? You don't believe me? No, it's not like that." Shu Han. Chu Ye could feel that Shu Han was angry. He also understood that Shu Han was angry because he cared about him. If he didn't care, who would care what soul ring you absorbed? This made Chu Ye feel a little uncomfortable, but he had to find a reason to conceal the real situation. "Shu Han, listen to my explanation. Last night, I suddenly had to go to the toilet and was attacked by a 10-year soul beast, and then, no need to explain, anyway, you have already absorbed it and it can't be changed, not to mention that it is your business." Shu Han. Unable to tell the truth, Chu Ye felt a little uncomfortable and guilty. After you and I leave the Xingdou Great Forest, we will go our separate ways, Shu Han said, and packed up his luggage and prepared to leave. His attitude had changed and became a little colder. Shu Han, wait for me. Liu Yao also packed up his luggage and chased after him. Shu Han could be said to be the first friend in Liu Yao's life. Of course, for Shu Han, Liu Yao was also a friend he met in the Blue Immortal Realm. But at this moment, the relationship between the two was obviously a bit stiff. One was walking in front, and the other was walking behind, without any communication. Along the way, Liu Yao was struggling over whether to confess to Shu Han. When he decided to tell Shu Han the truth, Qian Renxue's silkworm's voice sounded again. Xiao Yao, you are too weak now and have no ability to protect yourself. I remind you that you'd better not tell him about what happened between us. This kid is so mysterious that even I can't see through him. He is definitely not an ordinary character. You have only known him for a day. Do you know him? How dare you tell your secrets? But, brother Qian Meng. Alas, Qian Renxue's silkworm's words made Liu Yao give up this idea. On the way, Liu Yao could only try to save the stiff relationship between the two. After searching for a long time, Shu Han finally found a soul beast that was very suitable for him in terms of age and species. Roar. Orwu. The breath of the terrifying soul beast came over, roaring and roaring loudly, with a strong fluctuation of soul power. In front of him was a black giant wolf about 4 meters long. This is a 9,000-year-old dark wolf, with dark attributes, strong penetration and lethality, and very fast speed. This kind of soul beast is very suitable for Shu Han's god and demon sword martial soul. At this moment, the breath emitted by this 9,000-year-old dark wolf has made Liu Yao feel weak in his legs. This level of soul beast is already extremely terrifying and invincible for a wandering soul master like Liu Yao. The momentum alone is enough to oppress him and make it difficult to resist. Shu Han is indeed straight, with no fear in his eyes. He shows a smile of excitement at the corner of his mouth, and he is eager to fight. 9,000-year-old dark wolf, good, my third soul ring is you. Shu Han's breath has risen, his physical fitness and mental strength are far superior to soul masters of the same level. Although they are both god and demon sword god level martial souls, Shu Han's god and demon sword are different from Chu Ye's. Chapter 582. Killing the 9,000-year-old dark wolf, Shu Han absorbs the third soul ring. Shu Han's sword of gods and demons is not like Chu Ye's sword of gods and demons, which can absorb spirit rings of higher levels. Shu Han's ability to absorb spirit rings of higher levels is entirely due to his super strong physical strength. However, at Shu Han's current level, it is still a bit risky to absorb a spirit ring of 10,000 years. 9,000 years is enough. 9,000 years. Brother Tianming, if I remember correctly, the third spirit ring basically absorbs spirit rings of more than 1,000 years. Can Shu Han absorb a 9,000-year spirit ring? Liu Yao asked worriedly. Qian Renxue's silkworm said, usually, the third soul ring of you human soul masters will not exceed 2,000 years. Only very few people can absorb soul rings that are more than 2,000 years old, but they will never exceed 3,000 years. This kid is very abnormal for daring to absorb a soul ring that is 9,000 years old, but Xiao Yao. I told you long ago that he is not simple. 9,000 years should not be a problem for him. Don't worry. But brother Tianmeng, Shu Han only has 2 rings now. Can he deal with a soul beast that is 9,000 years old? Qian Renxue's silkworm said disapprovingly. Look at this kid, is he scared? Not only is he not scared, he seems to be excited. You are too weak, so don't join in the fun. Just watch here. Roar. At this time, the dark demon wolf had already rushed over like a horror. Shu Han also released the magic sword martial spirit, holding the sword in one hand, and ran away quickly. Shu Han. Be careful. Liu Yao reminded loudly, and his heart began to get nervous. A soul beast that is 9,000 years old requires at least a soul ancestor level strongman to fight, and only a soul king level strongman can have a high chance of killing it. The blood of the dark wolf is quite strong. A soul beast of 9,000 years old can be treated as a soul beast of 10,000 years old. A soul beast of this level needs at least a high level soul king. Shu Han, who is only level 30 inches the second ring, is confident of killing it, but facing a soul beast of this level, he must be serious. His eyes are locked on the dark wolf, and his whole state becomes extremely focused. Roar. At this moment, the face of the dark wolf is extremely ferocious and fierce. It has already pounced, waving its sharp claws and fangs, and fiercely clawing at Shu Han. Shu Han's body also rises with terrifying divine and demonic sword intent. In an instant, he flashed, jumped up, and slashed at the dark wolf with a sword. The two sides almost jumped up at the same time and quickly met in the air. 20 meters. 10 meters. 5 meters. 3 meters. Liu Yao in the distance was so nervous that he almost held his breath. Roar. The claws of the dark wolf were already swinging, and just as they passed by, just as the claws were about to grab Shu Han's head, he just shook his head slightly and dodged it by a hair's breadth. Almost. Just almost. This behavior is very risky. If you don't have absolute certainty and the ability to fight to the limit, this behavior is almost like seeking death. But Shu Han dodged it, and dodged it with full confidence, and at that moment, he slashed the side of the dark wolf with a sword. Puff. Tear it. The dark wolf screamed. Here. Shu Han's mouth corners slightly raised, and both of them landed at the same time. The dark wolf turned around, and Shu Han also turned around at the same time, but Shu Han was faster, and he immediately launched the next round of attack. The injured dark wolf was also completely enraged, and rushed towards Shu Han again frantically. Second solar skill, Body of Gods and Demons. Shu Han's breath instantly rose while running. His second solar skill was a self-strengthening and amplification skill, which comprehensively improved his strength, speed, power, and physical strength. First solar skill, Magic Sword Slash. Roar. A dark light ball also spurted out of the mouth of the dark magic wolf, but it was easily cut off by Shu Han. The magic wolf pounced again. This time, Shu Han ran halfway and threw the magic sword in his hand directly. The magic sword slashed on the ground, and Shu Han instantly lay on the magic sword to avoid the wolf claws above. When it was about to reach the feet of the magic wolf, Shu Han instantly grasped the sword and raised the sword very smoothly. Not only did he avoid it, but he also slashed the magic wolf's leg fiercely. Puff roar. This sword leg slash directly affected the magic wolf's movement seriously, greatly reducing its speed. Shu Han began to launch a crazy close combat attack on the magic wolf. The two sides fought fiercely here, but the dark magic wolf did not hurt Shu Han at all. Instead, Shu Han kept leaving sword wounds and slashing it. Puff. 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 At this moment, Shu Han showed his amazing combat awareness, which was equivalent to that of a first-level god. He used all kinds of extremes, cleverly and accurately to avoid attacks, counter-attack, and slashed at the dark wolf. Crush. This was an absolute crush in terms of combat perception, combat ability, combat skills, and consciousness. Too strong. It's really too strong. Shu Han's strength is so terrifying. Liu Yao was stunned. Even the knowledgeable Qian Renxue silkworm was stunned. Good guy, Xiao Yao, I still underestimated him. This kid's combat awareness has reached the pinnacle. This seems to be a realm that mortal soul masters cannot reach. Very strong. His combat ability is very strong. God and Demon Sword Technique, the first style, Sunday and Moon Demon God. Puff. The terrifying sword intent condensed into a powerful sword slash, and finally, with Shu Han's sword, the head of the dark wolf was instantly cut off. Bang. The dark wolf fell to the ground, and the wolf's head fell to the ground. After the battle, Liu Yao and Qian Renxue silkworm also came back to their senses in shock. Liu Yao, come and help me. After killing the dark wolf, Shu Han said to Liu Yao. Oh, I'm here. Liu Yao hurried forward. Help me spread the hair of the shadow wolf in these parts around, and help me sprinkle some snake repellent powder. Shu Han said. Oh, okay. Liu Yao nodded in confusion and did as he was told. Shu Han sat down cross-legged and prepared to absorb the soul ring of the 9,000-year-old dark wolf. At the same time, a strong sword intent surrounded him to protect him. Liu Yao was busy while asking, Brother Qian Meng, what does this mean? Qian Meng Bin Kan said, this kid is very experienced. The snake repellent powder can repel most low-level soul beasts of 10, 100, or 1,000 years old, while the hair of a soul beast, as well as these things and methods, can repel some soul beasts close to the 10,000-year level from approaching. In our soul beast clan, many kinds of soul beasts have their own territories and territorial awareness. They will occupy an area and use their hair, or yawing, or leave their claw marks on the trees, etc. to mark their own territories. Say goodbye to other soul beasts. Don't get close to my territory here casually. Otherwise, you will be attacked fiercely by the soul beasts in that territory. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 583. Liu Yao's first move, assisting Shu Han in fighting the 10,000-year soul beast. Although the soul beasts close to the 10,000-year level have not yet truly opened their spiritual intelligence, they are not stupid. They have their own ways to identify the strength of the soul beasts occupying this territory. But some soul beasts know that this is the territory of a powerful soul beast, so they will stay away to a certain extent to exclude soul beasts from approaching. Now he wants to absorb soul rings, but there is no strong person to protect him. There is only Liu, a weak one-ring soul master, and he can only use these means to exclude the attacks of soul beasts. So that's how it is. Shu Han is really not simple. Liu Yao took a deep look at Shu Han, who was about the same age as him. Then he stood silently on Shu Han's left and right. Although his power might not be able to do anything, if there was really a soul beast that suddenly approached and attacked Shu Han at this time, then Liu Yao would also try his best to protect him. Shu Han, don't worry about absorbing. If there is a soul beast that wants to hurt you, it will step over me first. Liu Yao muttered silently, his voice was very low, he didn't mean to let Shu Han hear, his eyes were firm. But when Shu Han was absorbing the soul ring, his mental power was particularly expanded and released. Because even when he was absorbing the soul ring, he was still sensing and alerting the surroundings. He had a way to actively stop absorbing soul rings, but if he stopped absorbing half of it, he would not be able to absorb this soul ring anymore. This was Shu Han's last way to save his life when there was no one to protect him in that Xingdou Great Forest, and this method was taught to Shu Han by the divine king Chu Ye. So when his mental power was particularly alert, Shu Han actually heard Liu Yao's whispered words, and could clearly sense that Liu Yao was on high alert to protect himself. Time passed quickly, and Shu Han had completely adapted to the fusion of the 9,000-year soul ring and entered a stable and safe absorption stage. It was also at this stage that his soul power began to soar wildly. Level 31. Level 32. Level 33. Still improving. Level 34. Finally stopped at the level of soul power 34. After absorbing this 9,000-year soul ring, Shu Han's soul power surged by 4 levels in a row. After the soul ring absorption was finished, Shu Han's strength had been terribly improved. He slowly opened his eyes and looked at Liu Yao, who was still on high alert. Shu Han no longer cared about Liu Yao's absorption of the 10-year soul ring. Level 4, not bad. Shu Han was very calm. He was not very excited about the sudden increase in soul power. He stood up and his attitude towards Liu Yao had obviously eased a bit. He walked forward and said, Liu Yao, let's go. Shu Han, be careful. At this time, Liu Yao's face became extremely terrified, looking at the distance behind Shu Han. After Liu Yao's reminder, Shu Han also felt that there was a powerful soul beast behind him, killing Shu Han with the most terrifying, fastest, most murderous, and most crazy momentum. Shu Han frowned and turned away at that moment. It was still a dark demon wolf that was larger and more powerful than the one Shu Han killed, and its cultivation had reached the 10,000-year level. And this 10,000-year level dark demon wolf is the mate of the 9,000-year-old one. It is here to seek revenge. Shu Han frowned, because the dark demon wolf attacked by surprise, and it was about to arrive in front of him. Shu Han had no time to release his soul skills, so he could only release his martial spirit to resist. Bang! Boom boom boom! The 10,000-year dark demon wolf clawed at Shu Han. Shu Han used the magic sword martial spirit to block the opponent's claw attack, but was also repelled by the dark demon wolf's claw. Roar! The 10,000-year dark demon wolf was very angry, and was full of murderous intent. The 9,000-year-old demon wolf was the mate it had just found, and it was still in the stage of cultivating feelings, and it hadn't started yet. It saw that it would take it down in 1 or 2 days at most, but it was killed by humans. It would never let go of the human who killed its mate easily. Die. Human. Ouch. It rushed towards Shu Han again, and at this time, Shu Han was ready to fight back. Under his feet, 3 yellow, and purple rings rose up, and the terrifying sword intent of gods and demons was released. Now it is a 10,000-year level soul beast, Liu Yao can't just watch and do nothing. The moment Shu Han took a step, Liu Yao also made a move. He made a move for the first time. Liu Yao's spirit eye martial soul emerged, and he pointed at the position of his eyes, and a soul power rose up. First soul skill, mental detection. And mental sharing. Liu Yao directly released 2 soul skills in succession. A powerful mental energy connected from Liu Yao's body to Shu Han's body. At that moment, Shu Han felt it, and his heart floated slightly. Is this Liu Yao's soul skill? His mental power suddenly gave him a stronger insight. Feeling the scenery within a range of 30 meters, any slight changes will be immediately reflected in the brain. With the help of this mental detection, Shu Han felt that he could react faster to the 10,000-year-old dark wolf in front of him. With ease, Shu Han easily avoided the attack of the dark wolf, and under the opponent's continuous fierce attack, he was still relaxed and at ease, and immediately launched a counter-attack, slashing the dark wolf with a sword. This kind of mental assistance soul skill actually comes from a 10-year soul beast. 10-year soul ring? This effect is at least 100 years level. Shu Han was a little surprised, but he quickly retracted his thoughts and put his attention back on dealing with this 10,000-year-old dark wolf. After slashing the dark wolf, Shu Han immediately activated the soul skill of the 3rd soul ring he had just absorbed. 3rd soul skill, Magic Sword Phantom. In an instant, 49 clones appeared on Shu Han's body, each of which was looming, virtual and real, just like a phantom, and Shu Han's body also entered the phantom state. At that moment, 50 phantoms of Shu Han, holding swords, appeared in all directions, up and down, left and right, at every angle and every position. In just a few seconds, 50 phantoms attacked the dark wolf one after another. But all the clones only served to confuse the opponent and did not have actual damage. Only Shu Han's real body had attack power. But each clone was the same as the real body, and there was no difference at all. Even Liu Yao, who had the blessing of the heavenly dream ice silkworm and released 2 spiritual soul skills, could not tell which one was Shu Han's real body at this moment. Is this Shu Han's 3rd soul skill? So powerful. Liu Yao was shocked. The 10,000-year-old dark wolf was unable to distinguish at this moment, and was finally seriously injured by Shu Han's sword. Chapter 584. Leaving the Qingdou Great Forest, the next plan. A deep sword wound was cut on the back of the 10,000-year-old dark wolf, and it fell to the ground. If you don't want to die, get out of here. Shu Han did not attack again, and said to the dark wolf, since the spirit ring has been obtained, he will not hunt spirit beasts at will. After all, this is the rule left by his father Chu Ye. The dark wolf's eyes were already terrified. It stopped attacking, stood up, and turned around and fled immediately. What mate? Just find another one. Facing death, it naturally wants to live. In this way, the 10,000-year-old dark wolf escaped, and Shu Han also took back the martial spirit and turned to Liu Yao. Thanks, Liu Yao. Liu Yao smiled embarrassedly. It's okay, I just help a little. Liu Yao, your spirit skills are very good. Although it is only a 10-year spirit ring, the abilities and spirit skills it gives you are still very strong. In my opinion, it must be the level of a 100-year spirit skill. Although it is 10 years, it is far better than 10 years. Not bad, work hard. Shu Han patted Liu Yao on the shoulder. The conflict between the two was completely resolved. Qian Renxue's silkworm was very proud when he heard this, and said to himself, Humph. That's the 1,000,000-year soul skill that my brother gave me. You have a bit of vision. Let's go. It's time for us to leave the Douluo Great Forest. Okay. Shu Han and the other walked side by side again. Along the way, they helped each other, talked and laughed, and gradually deepened their friendship from acquaintances. After nearly a day's journey, the two finally left the scope of the Douluo Great Forest and came to the forest outside. Shu Han asked, Liu Yao, what are your plans next? Liu Yao said with a face full of fighting spirit. Of course, I will join the Soul Master Academy to study. Next, I will make a lot of money. I will try to earn enough registration fees as soon as possible, and then find an ordinary Soul Master Academy to register for study. At the age of 11, with only one ring, Liu Yao naturally knew that with his current qualifications, it was impossible for him to join those powerful and famous Soul Master Academy, let alone the Wuhan Hall Academy, which was the #1 academy on the continent. Therefore, he could only set his sights on those very ordinary Soul Master Academy. Nowadays, there are no free high-level Soul Master Academy. There used to be a branch of the Spirit Hall Academy set up in various parts of the mainland. But because the Spirit Hall was so powerful and famous, all young people basically joined the Academy of the Spirit Hall. Even if it was not the main Spirit Hall Academy in the Spirit City, many students liked to go there. Because the Spirit Hall Academy in each branch of the Spirit Hall, as long as they were good enough, had several places every year to went to the main Academy of the Spirit City. In addition, the Spirit Hall Academy was too strong. The champion of each Soul Master competition was the Spirit Hall Academy, which won the championship with an absolute crushing situation. There was a gap with other academies, resulting in almost no suspense in the Soul Master competition. So the Spirit Hall decided to cancel the branch Spirit Hall Advanced Academy in various parts of the mainland, and only continue to run the Soul Master Junior Academy for free, and disperse a group of young Soul Master Academy to let them join other Soul Master Academy to study. Let the strength of other academies in the Spirit Empire be improved a little, which is not much loss for the Spirit Empire. Because in today's mainland, the most powerful Soul Master Academy is still the Spirit Hall Academy in the Spirit City, and there are still countless top talents who want to integrate into it. As long as those talents don't flow into the Sun Moon Empire, there won't be much impact. Hearing Yue's idea, Chu Han smiled and said bluntly, "Yue, come with me to sign up for the Spirit Hall Academy." Spirit Hall Academy, Chu Han, I also want to go to the Spirit Hall Academy, but with my qualifications, I know without thinking that I can't get in. I heard that the Spirit Hall Academy requires the soul power to reach at least level 21 before the age of 13, and I only have 1 year. It is almost impossible for me to reach level 21 within 1 year. Yue now said helplessly. The Spirit Hall Academy is the top and strongest Spirit Master Academy in the entire continent. The registration fee is not high, because the existence of the Spirit Hall has always been the greatest support for civilian Spirit Masters. Even in the past 10,000 years, it is still the same. It is still awakening the spirits for countless civilians and children in mountain villages for free, so the registration fee is also very low. Only 5 gold soul coins are needed, and 10 gold soul coins are enough for 1 semester and other expenses, including living expenses. For a poor soul master who is already 12 years old and graduated from the junior college, basically anyone can afford it, because a first ring soul master can come to the Spirit Hall every month to receive a subsidy of 1 gold soul coin. The junior college will subsidize 1 gold soul coin a month for 6 years, 12 gold soul coins a year. Even if the expenses are a little higher, you can save up to 6 gold soul coins a year, and 36 gold soul coins in 6 years. So now the Soul Master children who come out of the mountain village also have their own way. At the age of 6, they awaken their spirits and leave the village to join the free Soul Master Junior College of the Spirit Hall. After graduation, they accumulate wealth through the soul coins subsidized by the Spirit Hall and sign up to join the Advanced Soul Master Academy. The Advanced Soul Master Academy is generally a 12-year system. After 12 years, the graduation age will not exceed 25 years old. Of course, ordinary students will not stay that long at all, because they can graduate early after reaching the specified soul power level. And these Soul Master children who come out of the village, after graduating from the Advanced Soul Master Academy, are basically close to or 3-ring Soul Masters. Entering the society is considered to be a success for this group of people. Returning to the village is a triumph for the family. Therefore, wealth and money are not a problem for joining the Spirit Hall Academy. Talent is the main thing. Chu Han said seriously. Just tell me if you want to join the Spirit Hall Academy with me. Yes. Of course I want to join the Spirit City Academy. Yue now said without hesitation. Okay, then go with me. I have a way to let you join the Spirit Hall Academy, but whether you can stay in the Spirit Hall Academy depends on your own ability. Chu Han said. During the time he was in the lower world, he had actually learned about the Spirit Hall Academy in advance. That's right, the requirement is to reach level 21 soul power before the age of 13. This is the minimum standard. But in fact, all forces and some powerful soul master families have some recommended places, which can allow some people who do not meet the conditions to join the Spirit Hall Academy to study. However, the Spirit Hall Academy will conduct an assessment every 3 months, and those who fail the assessment will be eliminated from the Spirit Hall Academy. Because there are too many students who want to study at the Spirit Hall Academy, this elimination system will be adopted. The fittest will survive, and those who cannot complete the assessment will be eliminated. Chapter 585 Chu Han, Yue now signs up to join the Spirit Hall Academy. The competition in the Spirit Hall Academy is very fierce, especially for freshmen. Chu Han, what can you do? Yue was very excited after hearing this. Don't worry about it. I can guarantee that you will join the Spirit Hall Academy, but if you can't pass the freshman assessment, you will still be persuaded to leave the academy, so you have to practice well next time. Chu Han said with a smile. I will definitely practice well and try my best to stay in the Spirit Hall Academy. Yue clenched his fists and said firmly. Then let's go. Let's set off for Spirit City. Okay. Let's go. In this way, the two of them walked together and continued on the road to Spirit City and Spirit Hall Academy. According to Shu Han's understanding, there is still a month before the registration for the Spirit Hall Academy begins. Therefore, the two of them were not in a hurry and walked all the way. As they moved forward, they stopped to practice while walking. Shu Han would also give Yue some pointers on his fighting skills from time to time. Under the guidance of Shu Han's terrifying fighting consciousness equivalent to that of a first-level god, Yue's fighting ability and skills were also rapidly rising. Time flies, and a month later, Shu Han and Yue have already formed a deep friendship. Within this month, Shu Han's soul power has reached level 35, and Yue's soul power has also broken through to level 12. The two finally arrived at the gate of the Spirit Hall Academy. This is the Spirit Hall Academy, the world's #1 academy. It's really magnificent. Yue now exclaimed inwardly, and walked towards the entrance with Shu Han. Soon, they arrived at the registration office. At this time, the peak registration period had passed, and there were not many people. Shu Han and Yue basically didn't have to queue up, and it was their turn to register. Stretch out your hand, the registration teacher said to Shu Han. Shu Han stretched out his hand when he saw this. The registration teacher took Shu Han's pulse and immediately saw that Shu Han's root bone age was 12.5 years old, and his soul power had reached the 3rd ring. 12-year-old 3-ring soul master. Wow, this kid is pretty good. The registration teacher looked at Shu Han with great surprise. This level is already a top genius. Even in the Spirit Hall Academy, he was a top genius. He nodded secretly in his heart. Okay, this year we have another demon level student. Hilly. The registration teacher quickly calmed down. Shu Han was indeed a demon, but there were also demons of this level in the Spirit Hall Academy today, and there were even several of them. After paying the registration fee of 5 gold soul coins, you can enter the academy and go to the life department to pick up the school uniform. Someone there will arrange your dormitory. The school will officially start in 3 days. After saying that, the registration teacher pointed at Yue and said, "It's your turn." Because the Spirit Hall Academy now adopts an elimination system, the registration assessment was cancelled when registering, and as long as the basic requirements are met, it will be fine. Yue now slowly extended his hand, and the registration teacher shook his hand and shook his head. You are less than 12 years old and your spirit power is only level 12. Sorry, you are not qualified to join the Spirit Hall Academy. Shu Han decisively took out a token of this time. The registration soul master's face changed drastically when he saw it. This is Elder's Order. Looking at the color, it is still an ancient version of the Elder's Order from about 6,000 years ago. This is. Little brother, where did you get this token? Shu Han said. My family gave it to me. In fact, it was his sister Qian Renxue who forced it to him when he went to the lower world. Family. The registration teacher nodded silently. 10,000 years later, the Spirit Hall's tokens have been updated many times, and the appearance has changed several times, but the previous versions can still be used. Being able to take out the Elder's Order at least shows that Shu Han's ancestor once had a title Douluo, and he was also an elder of the Spirit Hall. He put his thoughts aside and said to Shu Han, "Come and register with the Elder Order. The Spirit Hall Academy can give you a place for admission without examination. He can join our Spirit Hall Academy, but it does not mean that he can stay in the Spirit Hall Academy forever. Those who can stay in the Spirit Hall Academy are the elite among the elites. Our academy will have a freshman assessment every 3 months. The academy that cannot pass the assessment will also be eliminated. Your friend is only level 12 inches spirit power. Even if he joins our academy temporarily through the Elder Order, I'm afraid it will be difficult for him to stay." The registration teacher was not very optimistic about Yue. Yue was full of fighting spirit. I will definitely do my best to stay in the Spirit Hall Academy. Ha, very motivated, then alright, both of you can go in. The registration teacher smiled disapprovingly, and waved his hand, indicating that Shu Han and Yue could enter the academy. He was not optimistic about Yue, and he was able to stay in the 3-month freshman assessment. Yue was thoughtful, and he could naturally feel that this teacher did not think highly of him, but because of Shu Han, he was able to come here to study, which was a great rarity. He would not be easily eliminated or kicked out. He secretly vowed in his heart, I must work hard to stay. I must stay. The two entered the living building of the academy as they were told, registered, and then received school uniforms, assigned dormitories, and finally came to the dormitory building. Shu Han and Liu Wei now shared the same dormitory. Shu Han, we will be classmates and roommates from now on. Yeah. Shu Han smiled faintly. Each of them chose a bed. The conditions were good, with 2 students living in one room in that dormitory. After they tidied up the room and made the bed, they decided to go to the academy for a good walk. Now the Wuhan Hall Academy is bigger, and the entire Wuhan city has also expanded a lot. It is the largest city on the continent today, and the area of the Wuhan Hall Academy alone is almost the size of a city. It can be said to be very large. If you don't hurry up, you may not be able to finish it in a day. But the two only plan to get familiar with it briefly, and roughly familiarize themselves with the scope of their frequent actions and activities in the future, and then go back. Now Shu Han and Liu Wei each have their own thoughts. I don't know if the son of luck that my father mentioned is in the Spirit Hall Academy, Shu Han muttered to himself. After all, the Spirit Hall Academy is the #1 Spirit Master Academy. In his opinion, the son of luck that Chu Ye mentioned at the time is very likely here. Shu Han really wants to know who that person is and how powerful and capable he is. But Shu Han still fully guessed that the son of luck he wanted to find was actually right next to him. I must enter the state of cultivation immediately. I only have 3 months to make up for the gap between me and others, otherwise I will be eliminated. Liu Wei is now concentrating on cultivation. He is under great pressure and must race against time, otherwise he may not be able to survive the 3-month freshman assessment, the first level. Chapter 586. Grade 1, Class 1, Homering Teacher, Soul Emperor Zhao Yuedao, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You have to rely on yourself to improve your soul power in the next period of time. I can help you crush most of the other freshmen in combat within 3 months. Shu Han patted Liu Wei on the shoulder and said confidently. Then I'll leave it to you, Shu Han. Liu Wei said gratefully. There are still 3 days before the new students start school. In the next 3 days, Liu Wei will practice with all his strength and accept Shu Han's Malay training. Soon, 3 days later, school finally started. Shu Han got up early in the morning and found Liu Wei sitting cross-legged on the bed practicing. It looked like he hadn't slept all night. He practiced very hard. Yuedao, it's time to go. Classes start today, Shu Han said in a bored tone. He came here to school to find the son of luck and fight and challenge other top talents on Douluo Continent. He really has no interest in classes. As the son of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, Shu Han's cultural courses, Soul Master Theory, knowledge courses, and combat power, he has learned them very comprehensively. No one could teach him the class on training combat ability. Even with Shu Han's understanding of combat, all the teachers in the Spirit Hall Academy had to learn from him. Therefore, Shu Han had no interest in attending classes, but after all, he was a student, and he would abide by what students should do. But Liu Wei was different. He urgently needed to attend classes to improve himself quickly in all aspects. Okay, let's go. Liu Wei immediately got up and packed his things and books, and walked out of the dormitory to the teaching building. There are still 5 minutes before class. Please hurry up, teachers and students of the Spirit Hall Academy, latecomers are not allowed to enter. A Soul Guide loudspeaker in the academy was broadcasting loudly. At this moment, Shu Han and Liu Wei had already entered the classroom, and the classroom was full of people. A bunch of newcomers were sitting in their seats, shaking their heads, looking here and there, communicating and chatting with great interest. It was obvious that the first day of class was full of expectations and freshness. Many girls noticed Shu Han, who was sitting quietly beside them with a blank expression. Shu Han has a 6-point look of Chu Ye and a 3-point face of Qian Renxue. Naturally, he is extremely handsome. At this moment, many female classmates are fascinated by Shu Han's appearance. Wow! Sisters, look. There is a handsome guy over there. Wow! So handsome. Oh my god. This is too handsome, huh? Shu Han frowned and glanced at the group of noisy girls. He's looking over here. He's looking over here. I can't help it, too handsome. I'm sure he must be the most handsome boy in our class. I heard his name is Shu Han. A group of female classmates became crazy about him. TSK. Shu Han glanced at him lightly and retracted his attention. He was obsessed with power and had no interest in women for the time being. A moment later, the first-year teacher of the Wuhan Hall Academy's external courtyard finally came. First, the sound of high heels sounded. Da. Soon, a woman in her 60s, holding a few books in her hands, slowly walked in from the entrance of the classroom and appeared in the students' sight. She walked to the podium with a dignified and domineering face, slammed 2 books on the books, pushed her glasses, and said in a loud voice, "My name is Chu Ye, and I am your class teacher. No garbage in my class can pass the assessment. The genius I want to cultivate is not trash." After saying that, Chu Ye slapped the table heavily, and a strong aura was released, which shocked all the students in the class except Chu Han on the spot. This was a warning that Chu Ye wanted to give to all the students. Obviously, her behavior also successfully shocked most of the students. What a terrible old woman. Many students muttered in their hearts. Those who had fought during the registration days, stand up. Chu Ye shouted loudly. The students in the classroom looked at each other, but no one stood up, and no one had fought during this period. Chu Ye saw this with a look of disdain and arrogance and said, "Oh, there is not even one, what a bunch of rubbish, don't you know what it means that only those who dare to face challenges are strong? Everyone. Now go out and run 100 laps around the college square. Whoever can't finish the run will be expelled." This. How can there be such a rule? Teacher. I don't accept it. The students couldn't understand this teaching concept after hearing it. One student stood up directly to express his disapproval. "TSK, it's so boring." Chu Han glanced at it with disdain. Teacher. I don't accept it. Why should we run away without fighting? A male student protested. At this moment, Chu Ye's aura and soul rings were just released, and a terrifying power swept over. He said very strongly, "Because I said it, if you don't accept it, you can get out." Yellow, purple, black, 6-ring soul emperor. 10,000-year soul ring, she is a 6-ring soul emperor. A large number of freshmen in the classroom were shocked and panicked. For this group of freshmen, the 6-ring soul emperor is an extremely powerful existence. The students were all timid, and were about to be frightened by Chu Ye's domineering attitude and were about to go out for a run. A cold voice suddenly sounded in the classroom, and Chu Han slowly stood up and said with great disdain, "When did not fighting become a mistake? Strong. It is true that you must dare to face challenges and fight, but you should not provoke and fight without reason. Challenging, sparring and fighting are 2 different things. Teacher, is it appropriate for us freshmen to cause trouble and fight as soon as we arrive at the academy? What occasions are for what to do? Shouldn't challenges and sparring be carried out in formal occasions? Can our Wuhan Hall Academy fight and brawl in private at will?" Teacher. Chu Han asked with great momentum. "This kid is not afraid of my soul emperor's momentum, and is even aggressive." Chu Ye frowned, and his face instantly became ugly. The Wuhan Hall Academy does not allow students to fight and brawl in private. Fighting in private is fine, but if you want to fight, go to the special fighting stage. If students are allowed to fight in private anytime and anywhere, the whole academy will be in chaos. Chu Ye couldn't organize her words to refute immediately, because she was indeed in the wrong. She originally just wanted to create her image of a serious, strict, domineering and strong teacher to give all students a warning so that they can be disciplined in the future. But Chu Ye never expected that there was a troublemaker in the freshman class who was not afraid of her soul emperor aura at all. Chapter 587 Chu Han challenges Chu Ye in public in class. "If you don't fight, you're a waste. If you don't obey, you'll drop out of school and get out. Can teachers at the Spirit Academy do whatever they want and force students to obey without any rules? Does the Spirit Academy have no rules and regulations? Teacher, I really can't agree with your ridiculous teaching philosophy. Whoever wants to run can go run." Chu Han faced Chu Ye's majesty and didn't give the so-called class teacher any face at all, because in his opinion it was ridiculous. "That's right. We don't obey. We don't run." Those who were scared and were about to go out for a run stopped and said, "How dare you? How unreasonable." Chu Ye felt that she had lost face in an instant, and it was a bit difficult to get off the tiger. Her teaching style was indeed different from that of all the teachers in the academy, and it was also quite excessive and broke the rules, so she ignored the argument. But if she gave up her momentum and became timid at this time, she would be completely humiliated. She was shocked by the students on the first day of school. What the hell was this? It will be difficult for her to establish her authority again, and it will be difficult for her to control these students in her way. Chu Ye must be tougher now. HMPH. Okay. You don't accept it, you don't want to run, right? Then you have to beat me. Whoever has the ability to defeat me in this class cannot obey my orders and not run, but if you are not my opponent, then you have to obey me. Chu Ye said angrily. Come on. Let me see who among you freshmen has the courage. In fact, from the first day of school today, the assessment, competition, and assessment of all freshmen have begun. Not only is there a 3-month freshman assessment, but from today on, a simple wave of elimination and screening will begin. Because there are too many students in each class, on the first day of school, every first-year class teacher will use their own means to eliminate some students who were not considered good enough in advance. The number is controlled within a range specified by the college. And Chu Ye chose to eliminate students in the first class of school today by running, so all students in her class must run today. Chu Ye didn't believe it. These students under 13 years old were all freshmen who had just entered the school. Who dared to challenge her? Who dared to challenge a Soul Emperor like her? Who would be her opponent? Hearing Chu Ye's words, Shu Han was excited, and a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. At that moment, the fighting spirit was ignited. Shu Han jumped out from the table directly, and under the shocked eyes of countless students, he came to the center of the classroom and faced Chu Ye directly. Then let me see the strength of the teachers of the Wuhan Hall Academy. Shu Han was eager to fight. He came here to fight with the geniuses of the mainland and the strong. The Soul Emperor Chu Ye in front of him was a good strong man for Shu Han at the moment. Fuck. Crazy. 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 There are actually people who dare to challenge Teacher Chu Ye. Teacher Chu Ye is a strong man at the Soul Emperor level. Is it possible for a freshman who just entered the school to reach Teacher Chu Ye? How could he win? This kid is so brave. Everyone in the audience was shocked. Although many of them admired Shu Han's courage to challenge Chu Ye, how could a first-year student fight against a Soul Emperor? It was a no-brainer that he would lose. To defeat a Soul Master from the outer courtyard, he had to be at least a 6th-year student, right? No. He had to be at least a student from the inner courtyard. He is asking for trouble by daring to challenge the Soul Emperor. There was no doubt that, except Yue Dao, no one thought that Shu Han would be Chu Ye's opponent. Even though Yue Dao, who already knew how powerful she was a little skeptical about whether Shu Han could beat the Soul Emperor in front of him. He is so brave. In the midst of shock, at this moment, there was a female classmate who was silent and seemed to be a little transparent. She was also surprised and shocked, and even a little admiring and worshipful as she looked at Shu Han. This female classmate had green hair and green eyes, and wore the same school uniform as the Spirit Hall Academy. But it was difficult to hide her unique appearance. Small and cute, with a sweet and lovely appearance, she is an innocent girl. She is not particularly beautiful yet, but she has a delicate appearance and belongs to the level of a beauty. Her name is Xiao Xiao, a female classmate who is not very eye-catching and outstanding among all the students in the class. Not many people even pay attention to her. It is impossible for a freshman to defeat the Soul Emperor teacher, right? Xiao Xiao guessed in her heart. Humph. You self-righteous boy, you actually dare to challenge me. Do you really think you can be my opponent? Stupid behavior. Chu Ye's face was not able to hold it. He didn't expect that someone would really come up to challenge him, and said angrily. She felt that Her Majesty was severely selected, and she was not taken seriously. Teacher, didn't you just say that those who dare to challenge are the strong? Now I want to challenge you, and it becomes self-righteous and stupid again. Shu Han mocked. You. Chu Ye's face flushed red from being confronted, and she was furious. She gritted her teeth and started to make trouble unreasonably. You sharp-tongued boy. Stop talking nonsense, let me see how capable you are. Oh, then you'll have a good look, teacher. Shu Han smiled coldly, and the next second, he finally released his martial spirit. Demon Sword Martial Spirit. At this moment, Shu Han's aura was officially released, and the Demon Sword Martial Spirit appeared in his hand. 3 rings appeared under his feet, yellow, and purple. 3-ring Soul Master. Oh my god. He is indeed a 3-ring Soul Master. Too amazing. He has reached the 3rd ring in the 1st grade. Shu Han's soul ring release once again caused an uproar, and all the students in the class were shocked again. Chu Ye was not too surprised. He dared to be so brave, so imposing, and confident to challenge a teacher, the Soul Emperor. If he didn't have the strength of 3 rings, he would not have such courage. Before the age of 13, the 3 rings were indeed a genius, but not a top genius. Even among the freshmen this year, there are several students with 3 rings. It is said that every student in the core academy is a more terrifying genius than this one. The Spirit Hall Academy has never lacked geniuses. Therefore, Zhao Ye didn't think Shu Han was so amazing now. Hehe, a three-ring soul master is indeed a genius soul master, but our Spirit Hall Academy has never lacked geniuses. There are countless people who have reached the third ring at a young age. Today, I will eliminate your arrogance. This is my first lesson for you. Zhao Ye snorted and took action. He didn't even release his spirit and rushed over at high speed. Chapter 588. In the classroom, freshman Shu Han knocks down his homeroom teacher Zhao Ye. I'm afraid I won't be able to benefit from your lesson, Shu Han said coldly, and then raised the magic sword martial spirit in his hand. The next second, a terrifying sword intent rose. God and demon sword intent. What? This kid is actually a sword master. Has this sword intent reached the level of intermediate sword intent? No wonder he is confident in challenging me, it seems that he is not arrogant. Zhao Ye was shocked. But, a soul master wants to defeat me with only the blessing of a sword intent? Hectare's dream. Zhao Ye sneered and punched. Ha! Bang! Boom boom boom. Shu Han swung a sword head-on, and Zhao Ye also punched head-on. The huge soul power wave protected her fist and collided head-on with Shu Han's. The energy of both sides confronted each other for 3 seconds, and then shook off at the same time, almost on par. How is it possible? Zhao Ye was shocked and his face darkened. Hectares, teacher Zhao Ye, don't be careless. Shu Han smiled confidently. Then he took the initiative to attack. Sword will can enhance a person's strength. Attaching sword will to moves and attacks can bring out stronger power. Even when facing a Soul Emperor, Shu Han, who is level 35, is not afraid in a head-on confrontation. However, after all, the Soul Emperor's soul power is far superior to that of a Soul Lord. Therefore, if there are multiple head-on confrontations, it will still not be a favorable situation. While Zhao Ye was still surprised that Shu Han could take her punch head-on, Shu Han had already launched an attack again. He attacked with an extremely clever identity and slashed with a sword from the side. Bang! Zhao Ye blocked the attack, but Shu Han's offensive began to get faster and faster, and every time he made a move, every attack was extremely tricky, without a single flaw, and impeccable. Impossible. I was suppressed by a first-year student. Zhao Ye was actually suppressed by Shu Han. A Soul Emperor level teacher was completely suppressed by a Soul Lord level student. Fuck. Oh my god. He actually suppressed our class teacher. Too strong. Really too strong. So terrifying. So terrifying. All the students were boiling with excitement. They were stunned. They opened their mouths and widened their eyes. They looked at this scene with difficulty and confidence, watching a student suppressing the teacher. At this moment, Shu Han has undoubtedly become the strongest one in the class in the hearts of all the students. No. Even among the freshmen in the first grade, he is probably the strongest one. What kind of monster is this kid? He actually has such outstanding fighting ability. I was completely crushed by him. It's impossible. Even if he trains every day at such a young age, he can't reach this level. Genius. He is a natural fighting genius. Zhao Ye was stunned. She has been teaching for so many years and has seen countless genius teenagers. She has also seen many first-year soul masters who are 3 rings. There are many such geniuses in the cultivation of soul power. However, he has never seen a student with such a heaven-defying fighting skills and fighting awareness. The ability of a first-year student to fight is far superior to her, a Soul Emperor who is several dozen years old. He even felt that a titled low-level warrior was just like this. Bang! Zhao Ye kicked the magic sword that Shu Han was slashing at, but she kicked the magic sword out of Shu Han's hands. My chance has come. Zhao Ye was delighted. The magic sword bounced into the sky, and Zhao Ye felt that she had found an opportunity and attacked Shu Han fiercely. However, she didn't know that she had fallen into Shu Han's trap. The magic sword that was knocked into the air instantly adjusted its direction and stabbed straight down as Shu Han waved his soul power downward. Not good. Zhao Ye's face changed drastically. Although she knocked Shu Han back with one punch, the magic sword also fell down instantly, leaving a deep sword mark on her thigh. Puff. Zhao Ye's pants on her thigh were directly cut, revealing her white thigh, and blood flowed out. Ding. The magic sword was already stuck in the ground at this moment, but at the moment the sword was stuck in the ground, Shu Han had already come in front of the sword, grabbed the magic sword in an instant, and drew the sword to cut. Puff. Zhao Ye was slashed by Shu Han again, and fell to the ground on the spot. If she hadn't used the Soul Emperor's soul power to protect her front body in time, she would have been miserable with this terrifying sword. The winner has been decided. Zhao Ye fell to the ground, her heart was still in shock, and she looked at Shu Han with horror, as if she was looking at a monster. She couldn't imagine that she actually lost to a student in the classroom, a freshman who had just enrolled. A freshman defeated the teacher just after entering school, which has never happened in the history of the Wooden Hall Academy. Teacher, you're lost. Shu Han raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and put away the magic sword martial spirit. It is naturally impossible to release soul skills to fight in the classroom, otherwise the classroom will have to be demolished. So at the moment the battle began, the two had already defaulted to not using soul skills to fight. Without using soul skills, and if the soul power cannot completely suppress Shu Han, then Shu Han is invincible when facing an opponent in this situation. Shu Han actually defeated teacher Zhao Ye. Even though Yue Dao, who already knew that Shu Han was very strong, was stunned. The others were completely stunned. I actually lost. Zhao Ye's face was ugly, feeling humiliated. She remembered this student, but today she also admitted defeat. Zhao Ye stood up with an embarrassed look on her face, and said unwillingly, "You don't have to go running. From now on, as long as it is a course about fighting, you can come or not come to class according to your own will, and I will give you full credits. As for why you are still stunned, do you think you have the ability to defeat me? Is that so?" Zhao Ye, who couldn't vent her anger on Shu Han, transferred her anger to all the other students in the class. At this moment, she looked extremely fierce, like a tigress. No. If you don't have it, then go and run for me. If you can't finish 100 laps, you will be eliminated directly. Go. All the students were scared and ran out of the classroom and ran 100 laps on the playground. Shu Han was the only one who didn't have to run. He just watched silently on the side, which made the students who were running very envious. Zhao Ye's intention of running 100 laps was to test the students' endurance and perseverance, whether they would work hard to achieve their goals with their own abilities, whether they would be determined not to give up, and whether they would take shortcuts and play tricks. Therefore, the 100 laps was Zhao Ye's preliminary screening of the first class of students, and it also allowed Zhao Ye to see the preliminary physical fitness of this batch of freshmen. After all, those who can join the Wooden Hall Academy are all considered little geniuses. Chapter 589. Become famous in one battle. Fame spreads throughout the Spirit Hall Academy. After all, the admission standard of the Spirit Hall Academy is to reach level 21 before the age of 13. This level is not considered a genius, but it is definitely a small genius. If it were other middle level and upper level academies, such students would basically be considered strong. But in the Spirit Hall Academy, which is full of geniuses, talent is sometimes not very valued. Unless it is a genius like Shu Han, the academy pays more attention to other qualities for freshmen. For example, whether there is perseverance, whether there is the courage to face difficulties and challenges, and not give up and still work hard to move forward. This is very important. Students with such qualities are more likely to stand out among a group of geniuses and qualify. Soon, as the students began to run around the square, Liu Yao's physical strength gradually showed a gap with other students. Although Liu Yao's physique was trained and made up by Shu Han since the start of the Great Forest, there was still a gap between him and others. After all, he was the only one Ring Spirit Master. Persist. I must persist to the end and finish these 100 laps. I can't be eliminated on the first day of class. I can't let Shu Han down for the chance to enroll me. Liu Yao gritted his teeth and persisted. In the end, he was almost the last one to finish the 100 laps. He completed the first day's test. Shu Han, who was not far away, nodded secretly. Now those whose names I read can leave Wuhan City Academy. Zhao Ye called out the names of the eliminated academies one by one, and finally 9 people were eliminated. The remaining students all stayed for the time being, but it did not mean that they would definitely stay in the academy. The next step would be the freshman assessment in 3 months. In this way, the first class of the freshmen ended. Zhao Ye quickly discovered the specialties of Liu Yao's martial soul. When the get out of class was over, she left Liu Yao alone and took him to the Spirit Guidance Academy of the Spirit Hall Academy, where they met the 8th level Soul Guide Fan Yu. Zhao Ye recommended Liu Yao to Fan Yu of the Soul Guidance Academy. Liu Yao also had a deep understanding of soul guides, the profession of soul guides, and Kaiju, one of the most outstanding students in the Soul Guidance Academy. In this way, the gears of fate between the Douluo Dalu, soul guides, and soul guides began to turn. And Shu Han also became famous in the battle with Chu Ye. On the second day of school, Shu Han's fame instantly spread throughout the entire external courtyard, among all teachers and students from grades 1 to 6, shocking the entire Wooden Hall Academy's external courtyard. A group of external courtyard teachers gathered together and talked in amazement. Even among all our external courtyard teachers, Chu Ye's strength is also among the best. A mere first-year freshman who just enrolled actually beat Chu Ye. Fuck. This kid is too outrageous. Chu Ye made a fortune. Class 1 actually has such a monster-level genius. In the freshman assessment competition 3 months later, won the first place for Shu Han in Class 1. No, such a genius should come to my class too. I want to poach him. Not only did the students and teachers of the external courtyard know about it, but Shu Han's battle was also heard by the students of the inner courtyard and even the core courtyard. Hey, have you heard? Today, a super monster came to the first-year students of the outer school. On the first day of class, he openly picked teachers and chopped the teacher of the outer school. What? Impossible. A first-year student chopped the teacher in class? Oh my god, are all the freshmen so fierce now? If I remember correctly, the teacher teaching in the outer school is at least a strong man at the level of Soul Emperor. Really? Now the college is going crazy. That kid is amazing. That's interesting. It seems that our core school will soon have another demon-level student. A group of top students in the core school were also talking about Shu Han. At this time, a very pleasant voice sounded from the back. It was a girl with golden hair and wearing a golden dress. This girl looked extremely beautiful, delicate and pretty. You have time to gather together and discuss a new student. You might as well spend more time on cultivation. Ah, Master Qian, you are here. No more chatting, let's go to practice now. Seeing this, several core students who were gathered together to communicate dispersed awkwardly. This blonde girl named Qian is the descendant of the Qian family, the latest generation of the Six-Winged Angel clan, Master Qian. The daughter of the Pope of the Spirit Hall. The daughter of the Emperor of the Spirit Empire. The strongest second-generation official in the contemporary era, the strongest second-generation soul. The most powerful second generation. She is also one of the most evil geniuses in the current Spirit Hall Academy. Although there are several core disciples sitting together and talking, their current soul power strength is higher than Qian. But they are still very respectful of Qian's identity. They quickly disperse to practice. Shu Han, a freshman in the first year, can defeat the Soul Emperor teacher of the outer courtyard. It's interesting. Let me see how long it will take you to win to the core courtyard. Qian was naturally interested in such a genius after hearing about it. But he was only slightly interested and then put it aside, no longer making excuses, and entered his own practice. The next day, Shu Han, whose fame had spread throughout the Wooden Hall Academy, instantly became the focus of countless people's attention, and the object of worship, respect, and admiration of countless students. He instantly became the recognized strongest among the freshmen. But in this regard, no freshman had any objection to Shu Han's recognition as the first. With both strength and good looks, Shu Han instantly became the male god among the freshmen, and was loved and worshipped by countless female classmates and even senior students. On the way to the classroom, many beautiful female classmates were shyly wearing miniskirts, and they shyly handed Shu Han their carefully prepared love letters. Shu Han classmate, you can accept my things. Several cute girls looked shy, twisted their bodies, buttocks, shyly handed the love letters to Shu Han, and looked expectant. However, they did not expect that what they got in return was Shu Han's cold attitude. Sorry, I'm not interested. After that, Shu Han left coldly. Without women in mind, he will be a natural god when he draws his sword. Women will only affect his speed of becoming stronger and his pursuit of absolute power. Shu Han vaguely remembered that when he was in the god realm, before Qian Renxue became a second-level sword god, the previous generation sword god said this to him. At the time, the first-generation sword god asked, Shu Han, did you rape me? Shu Han rolled his eyes. Uncle sword god, I'm only 8 years old and I haven't raped you yet. The sword god said at the time. Really, Shu Han? Well, then what Uncle Sword God wants to tell you today is, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 590. The Spirit Hall Academy's System and Student Classification. The Sword God said at the time. Is that so, Xiaohan? Well, I want to tell you that if you want to become an extremely strong person and an extremely strong swordsman, you must rape women, at least before you achieve your desired goal. Women will only affect and shape your determination to become stronger, your pace and your speed. Xu Han thought it made sense at the time, and now he has always kept this in mind, so until now he has not considered women at all. A moment later, Xu Han came to the classroom. Because he defeated the head teacher's Chu Ye yesterday, he didn't have to go to class except for cultural classes, but today was also that day to select the class monitor, and everyone in class 1 had to be present. Came to the classroom. All the students in class 1 gathered. Chu Ye took out a pile of heavy armor, asked each student to wear it and then continue running, and the last one was eliminated. Running again? You don't know how to train anything else except running, right? It's so boring. I'd better challenge the senior students in the senior year. Xu Han shook his head. He was really not interested in this kind of physical training course, and it was useless to him. Because his physique has been very strong for a long time. But for freshmen like Chu Ye, running with weights to exercise their physical fitness is still somewhat effective. Chu Ye couldn't do anything when she saw Xu Han leaving alone. For a student of this level, she had perfect scores in all aspects of his abilities, so she really had nothing to teach him. After teaching for so many years, Chu Ye had never met a first-year student who was so awesome that she couldn't even manage him. Chu Ye now also looked at Xu Han's back as he left alone, and he became more determined to work hard. Xu Han became famous as soon as he entered the Spirit Hall Academy and became a celebrity that everyone talked about, while I am still an inconspicuous little transparent person. Even in this first-year class, I am still at the bottom. I may even be eliminated at any time. But I will definitely work hard to become stronger. There is a place for me, Chu Ye, in this Spirit Hall Academy. There was a sharp contrast and variance between Xu Han's strength and Chu Ye's. One stood at the top of the first-year students, and the other stood at the bottom of the first-year students. But this did not discourage Chu Ye. Instead, it became his motivation. He wanted to become stronger step by step and gradually catch up with Xu Han. Persevere. Persevere to the end. Chu Ye ran forward slowly in heavy armor, persevering. Even though he was very tired and weak, he still did not stop. He kept running forward. Even when other students had stopped to rest, Chu Ye still did not stop. His perseverance infected other students and motivated all the students in class 1. In the end, Chu Ye successfully completed today's weight training under his persistence. It was also because of Chu Ye's perseverance that the whole class was infected with the atmosphere and fighting spirit of striving forward and not giving up. In the end, Chu Ye decided to give the position of class monitor to Chu Ye. On the other hand, Xu Han had already started his challenge. He came directly to the second grade school district and planned to challenge all the way up from the second grade. Then he would beat the strongest students from the 1st to 6th grades of the entire outer courtyard and truly become the strongest person in the outer courtyard with his strength. Then continue to challenge the students in the inner courtyard, and then beat the students in the core courtyard. This is Xu Han's next goal. The current Wuhan Hall Academy is mainly divided into 3 courtyards, the outer courtyard, the inner courtyard, and the core courtyard, and 3 levels of students. The core courtyard is the former core disciples of the Wuhan Hall, and it is the gathering place of the evil geniuses in the Wuhan Hall Academy. Only those who are very strong and outstanding can join it. In the inner courtyard, you must at least be promoted to the 6th grade to be eligible to enter the inner courtyard, and there will not be many people who can be admitted to the inner courtyard. The outer courtyard is divided into grades 1 to 6. The competition in the 1st grade is the greatest, and the assessment is conducted every 3 months. Those who are not good will be eliminated and brushed out of the academy. In the 2nd and 3rd grades, the competition is not so fierce, but if a semester, the students who do not meet the minimum requirements of the academy will also be eliminated. Starting from the 4th grade, there will basically be no students who were eliminated, and the competition is not so fierce, but they will face a new problem, which is the promotion grade. That's right, starting from the 4th grade, you may no longer face elimination, but the problem of whether you can be promoted from the 4th grade to the 5th grade. A 4th grader needs to meet certain conditions to be promoted to the 5th grade. If the standard is not met, he will be stuck in the 4th grade. The same applies to the 5th grade to the 6th grade. If you are stuck in the 4th grade, you will face elimination if you repeat the grade for too long. Therefore, Starting from the 4th grade, the age gap will be very large, and there will be many repeaters, and there will be a mixed crowd. This is the current Wooden Hall Academy. Hey, look, isn't that Chu Han, the first-year student who chopped down the Seoul Empire teacher? How did he come to our second-year school area? During the extracurricular activities, many second-year students have noticed Chu Han's arrival, and they are whispering and talking. Hey. Chu Han's eyes are directly locked on the second-year boys in front of him who are talking about themselves. Those boys found that they were stared at by Chu Han, and they were a little nervous. Seeing Chu Han walking step by step, the aura of these boys was directly suppressed. But they were second-year students anyway, and they were seniors in front of Chu Han, so they couldn't act too timid. But they were obviously very nervous, and they stuttered a little when they spoke. What's wrong? Excuse me, who is the strongest person in your second grade? Chu Han walked up to them and asked seriously. Faced with the imposing Chu Han's question, they didn't even have time to think about why they were asking this, and several people subconsciously blurted out. I'm Wang Kaiang, the strongest student in our second grade is Wang Kaiang from class 2. Wang Kaiang from class 2? Okay, thank you for letting me know. After Chu Han learned the target, he turned and left. This guy's aura is too strong. Several students breathed a sigh of relief. They looked at Chu Han's back, and then they asked the question, and asked nervously, Junior Chu Han, what do you want to do? Chu Han stopped, turned half of his face and said lightly, challenge the strongest person in your second grade. After that, Chu Han walked away. At this moment, the bell for class rang. There were still 5 minutes left before the next class. Almost all the students in the second grade class 2 had returned to the classroom. Wang Kaiang from the second grade class was sitting in his seat with an arrogant look on his face, bragging to a few female classmates. Suddenly, the door of the second grade class was kicked open. The bang startled the entire second grade class 2 students, as well as Wang Kaiang. Everyone's eyes collectively looked towards the main entrance of the classroom. Chapter 591. The Fighting Spirit Area challenges the strongest student in the second grade. Chu Han was seen walking in slowly. It's him. Chu Han, the freshman. The strongest freshman who beat teacher Zhao Yi in class. Damn, why is he in our class? What is he doing here? I don't know. Everyone was shocked, and a group of second-year students were even more crazy. Wow. It's him, so handsome. Who is Wang Kaiang? Chu Han's voice rang out in class 2. This kid is coming for me. Wang Kaiang was panicked. Chu Han's name had already spread throughout the outer courtyard. It can be said that in just 2 days, everyone knew it. He naturally heard about Chu Han's victory over Seoul Empire teacher Zhao Yi in class. For such a genius, Wang Kaiang naturally felt inferior. But he was the strongest student in the second grade after all, a senior, and he would not be too timid. He stood up with a serious face, but a little nervous inside and said, I'm Wang Kaiang, you are looking for me? I heard that you are the strongest student in the second grade. Chu Han slowly walked in front of Wang Kaiang and confirmed again. Yes, I'm the strongest in the second grade. What, do you want to talk to me about something? Wang Kaiang asked again. After all the classes today, at 7 p.m., I will wait for you in the fighting spirit area. I hope you have the guts to accept my challenge. Chu Han said this, and all the students in the second grade class 2 are furious. Fuck. He wants to challenge Wang Kaiang. Oh my god, he is challenging our second grade students on the second day of freshman year, and he directly chooses the strongest one. This kid is too arrogant. But, he seems to have the capital. Wang Kaiang's face was a little ugly. He didn't want to fight, because he felt that he might not be Chu Han's opponent. If he couldn't beat him, it would be a bit embarrassing. But facing a junior, if he didn't even have the courage to fight, it would be even more embarrassing. Wang Kaiang gritted his teeth. Humph, you dare to challenge me, the strongest second grader on the second day of school, okay. I accept your challenge, let me see how powerful you, the strongest first-year freshman, are. Then see you in the fighting spirit area at 7 p.m. Chu Han said, and turned to leave. The Spirit Hall Academy does not allow students to fight in private. If they do fight, they go to the Academy's special fighting spirit area. Soon, the news that Chu Han challenged the second-year strongest student Wang Kaiang spread among the second-year students. As time approached 6 o'clock in the evening, most of the first-year and even third-year students also knew about it. Hey! Have you heard? Shu Han went directly to the second grade to challenge the second-year strongest student Wang Qiang. Oh my god. Zundu Fate Do. Really? Interesting, I must go to the fighting spirit area tonight to see. Unknowingly, this news quickly spread among the first-year class 1. Shu Han actually went to challenge the second-year students. Liu Yao smiled helplessly. This kid is really good at making a fuss, but with his strength, it is more than enough to defeat the second-year students. Although Zhang was very upset because Shu Han chopped her in class, she had to admit Shu Han's strength. After school at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, many students finished dinner around 6 o'clock and prepared to go to the fighting spirit area immediately to watch Shu Han's fight. All the students who heard about it wanted to go and watch the fight, to see with their own eyes how strong this first-year student who was famous throughout the Wuhan Hall Academy's outer courtyard was. Soon, when it was close to 7 o'clock, the fighting spirit area was almost full of people. Today's fighting spirit area was particularly lively. On the way to the fighting spirit area, there was a food street in the academy. At this moment, 2 fourth-year students, a boy and a girl, were walking on this street. The boy was holding an iron fan in his hand, and he looked a little handsome. His name was Yu Sanchi. The girl next to her had long golden hair, which was scattered behind her head in big waves. She had a slender and well-proportioned figure, skin as white as snow, and eyes as clear as a pool of clear water. She had an elegant and noble temperament, a jade-like complexion, and a gentle and graceful figure, like a beauty that could topple a country and a city. She was the recognized #1 beauty in the outer courtyard, Qian Renxue. As the two walked on the food street, they had noticed that many students were running quickly towards the fighting spirit area, and they seemed to be talking about some challenges. Zhu Sanchi asked in confusion, "What's going on in the soul fighting zone today? It looks so lively." Qian Renxue glanced at Zhu Sanchi. "I heard that the strongest freshman in the first grade challenged the strongest student in the second grade." "Oh? That guy has been very popular these 2 days. It's interesting, Nanan, should we go and have a look?" Zhu Sanchi looked interested when he heard it. Zhu Nanan didn't seem to want to pay attention to Zhu Sanchi, but she was indeed very interested in the freshman's soul fighting, so she turned around and walked towards the soul fighting zone. "Nanan, wait for me." Seeing this, Zhu Sanchi followed behind silently, and the two of them went all the way to the soul fighting zone. Liu Yao was also on his way to the soul fighting zone. As a competition of his good brother and roommate, he naturally wanted to watch the game and cheer for Shu Han. Unexpectedly, when Liu Yao arrived at the soul fighting zone, a group of female classmates were cheering for Shu Han, and their popularity far surpassed that of Wang Qiang, the strongest student in the second grade. "Oh, I thought too much." Liu Yao smiled awkwardly. Soon, the time came to 7 o'clock, and Shu Han's challenge to the second-year Wang Qiang was about to begin. At this moment, both sides were already standing on the fighting stage. The whole place was filled with the voices of girls cheering. "Junior Shu Han. Classmate Shu Han. Come on. Beat him. We're counting on you." Wang Qiang was envious. "Damn it. How can this kid have so many female fans when he's only been in the academy for 2 days? Shu Han had already taken a fighting stance. He respected his opponent and bowed his hands according to the most basic etiquette before a fight. Freshman Shu Han, Class 1, Grade 1, with a magic sword, Level 35 3-ring Battle Soul Master, please teach me. What? 3. Level 35. FCK. Oh my god. He's actually level 35, I thought he was only level 31 or 32 at most. Abnormal. This kid is so abnormal, he's already reached level 35 before he was 13. So terrifying, level 35? Wang Qiang's head was buzzing, and he was even more panicked inside, and he lost confidence in winning. This kid is actually level 35. Zhao Sanxi and Qian Renxue in the viewing area also changed their faces and became serious. No one guessed that Shu Han's soul power had reached level 35. Although everyone knew that he was a 3-ring soul master, level 35 was shocking. It could be said that it was unlikely that such a person would appear in the Spirit Hall Academy for hundreds of years. Chapter 592. Killing the strongest second grader with one move, stunning the audience. It can be said that in the past 100 years, it is unlikely that a student who has cultivated to level 35 inches the first year of the Spirit Hall Academy will appear. The strength of the first-year freshman in this world is actually quite high. In addition to Shu Han, who is a 3-ring Spirit Master, there are several other 3-ring students in the first year, such as 19 from the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect, etc. But in fact, even in the second year, there is no 3-ring spirit master now. It's not that the second year is too weak, but that the first year this year is too strong. Under normal circumstances, the second year is basically at this level, and the strongest is Wang Kaiang's peak level 29 spirit power. In the third year, there are gradually more 3-ring spirit masters, but they're still very few. Only in the fourth year will there be more 3-ring spirit masters, so the appearance of level 35 among the first-year freshmen is already a very heaven-defying existence. That's why Shu Han's spirit power is so shocking. Good fellow, a freshman is already level 35. How can I beat him? No, even if I lose, I can't lose too thoroughly, otherwise it will be too embarrassing. Wang Kaiang tried to calm himself down, and also bowed his hands and said, Wang Kaiang from Class 2, Grade 2, with whom Violent Bear, Level 29 Second Ring Strong Attack System Battle Spirit Master. Shu Han frowned slightly when he heard it. Level 29? No way, the strongest second-year student is not a 3-ring Spirit Master but only level 29? Shu Han did not say directly that the second-year students were too weak, but his word had already made it clear. In the spectator seats, all the second-year students were a little embarrassed, because indeed, the strength of their second-year students was indeed relatively weak. Wang Kaiang said helplessly, what's wrong with level 29? Come on, there are not many 3-ring Spirit Masters even among the third-year students. The second-year students who can cultivate to level 29 spirit power are already very strong. Okay, then let's fight quickly. Shu Han said. Wang Kaiang clearly saw a disappointment in Shu Han's eyes. This disappointment was an expression of extreme contempt and disdain for the opponent. Wang Kaiang was immediately angry. So what if I'm level 29? So what if you're level 35? It's not that easy for you to beat me. Take my move. Second soul skill, Violent Bear Attack. Ha, roar. The Violent Bear martial spirit behind Wang Kaiang seemed to be attached to his body and merged with it. It rushed forward in a very violent, manic, and ferocious straight line. It bombarded the opponent with the impact force of the terrifying straight line burst speed. The Violent Bear martial spirit is very powerful, even a 3-ring soul master can resist it. Under the absolute power, Wang Kaiang is very confident that even Shu Han, who was a 3-ring soul master, can resist it. Let's do it. Hey, why is Shu Han still standing there without any reaction? He is not going to face Wang Kaiang's attack head-on. As Wang Kaiang rushed forward, 50 meters, 30 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters. Shu Han still stood there calmly, which made everyone confused about his intention. No. If Shu Han doesn't take action now, we will really be unable to avoid it. When Wang Kaiang and Shu Han were only 1 meter apart, Shu Han finally moved. With his extremely exquisite body movements, he almost seemed to pass by Wang Kaiang's body and avoided from the side. What? The two of them passed each other, and Wang Kaiang looked back with horror. No. It's over. At this time, Shu Han had already hit Wang Kaiang's back neck with the head of the hilt. Bang. Ah. Shu Han put away the sword decisively and confidently, and Wang Kaiang had already fallen to the ground, rolling his eyes. Killed in one move. Wang Kaiang was easily knocked to the ground by Shu Han's move, and he couldn't get up for a while. The battle just began and ended in an instant. How is it possible? Wang Kaiang was paralyzed on the ground, with only shock and horror in his heart. Oh my god. No way, is this the end? The whole audience fell silent, their eyes widened, their mouths opened, as if their jaws had dropped. The whole place was silent and stunned for a full 3 seconds before everyone reacted, and then there was madness after the silence. Fuck. Instant kill. Instant kill. Wang Kaiang was killed instantly by Shu Han. Oh my god, Shu Han didn't even use his soul skill yet. He was knocked down with one move. This Wang Kaiang is too vulnerable. No. It's not that Wang Kaiang is vulnerable, but this kid is too strong. He chose to dodge between the limits. In this case, once he dodges and counterattacks, the opponent will have a hard time reacting. This is a top-level attack and defense conversion style, but to achieve this level, at least you must have a combat awareness and combat ability close to the top. After countless battles and training in actual combat, it is definitely not something that ordinary people can do. If you don't have this confidence and ability, you are just looking for death to fight like this. A 4th-year student with a good combat awareness explained with excitement and shock. What a pity, I thought I would see a wonderful battle, but I didn't expect this kid to not even use his martial soul and knock down the second-year Wan Kaiang with one move. Zhu Sanshi shook his head with a look of disappointment. Shu Han defeated Zhao Ye mainly because of his superb fighting ability, but in that battle, Wei Qing heard that Shu Han had used solar skills, so many people wanted to know how strong Shu Han was when he used solar skills. This is what many people wanted to see, but they didn't expect Wang Kaiang to be so miserable and knocked down by one blow, nor did they expect Shu Han's fighting ability to be stronger than they imagined. Really amazing. Jiang Nan secretly admired Shu Han when she saw this. She took a deep look at Shu Han and silently remembered this first-year boy. Then she got up and left. Seeing Jiang Nan leave, Zhu Sanshi followed her. You were full of flaws when you used solar skills. You just relied on the power and strength of solar skills, but forgot that releasing solar skills is just a means of attack. Next time you use solar skills to attack, you should also consider the issue of defense. No matter what the situation is, you should think about the concept of attack and defense conversion. You should defend when attacking, and you should also think about attacking when defending. Think about it carefully. After leaving this paragraph, Shu Han turned and left the fighting soul area. This battle that countless first-year and second-year students had been looking forward to ended quickly and simply. But what everyone had not yet realized was that Shu Han's challenge was not over yet, it was just the beginning. After watching the game, Liu Yao also stood up silently. When all the students had already started to rest and have fun, Liu Yao started physical training alone. At about 10 o'clock in the evening, Liu Yao returned to the dormitory covered in sweat, and then continued to accept Shu Han's training and combat ability. Chapter 593. The strongest offensive spirit and the strongest defensive spirit in the outer courtyard. If you don't have enough talent, you can make up for it with hard work. Liu Yao's efforts and training time are several times that of other students. He attends classes during the day and trains himself at night. At the same time, he receives training from Shu Han on close combat and combat awareness. In this way, Liu Yao grows up day by day. After the third day, Shu Han finally challenged again. This time, he directly chose to challenge the third-year students. Seeing Shu Han coming to the third-year school area, the third-year students have realized something. As expected, Shu Han challenged the third-year strongmen. There is no recognized strongest student in the third grade. There are 3 students with similar strengths. They don't think they are weaker than each other, so Shu Han directly challenged these 3 students. And these 3 are all 3 ring spirit masters. Here they come. Here they come. Shu Han, the strongest freshman in the first grade, really challenged the third-year students. Quick! Go to the fighting spirit area and take a look. Today's game is absolutely exciting. The news has spread like wildfire in the academy again, and it is even more popular than Shu Han's first challenge to the second grade. Not only the first, second, and third graders, but also that fourth, fifth, and some sixth graders, all went to the fighting spirit area. They watched Shu Han challenge the top third grade students. Shu Han's challenges resounded throughout the outer courtyard of the Wooden Hall Academy. At this moment, the entire fighting spirit area's viewing area is almost full. Shu Han looked at the 3 opponents in front of him and said, 3 of you, who will go first? The 3 people in front of him, 2 boys and 1 girl. 2 strong attack spirit masters and 1 agile attack spirit master. One of the strong attack spirit masters stood up first. HMPH. Then let me meet you first. Come on. The opponent did not dare to be careless, and went all out from the beginning, directly starting to strengthen his own amplification skills, and releasing the second spirit skill to kill. Shu Han was just a martial soul, and still did not use his spirit skills, and even did not release the sword intent, and started a battle with the 3rd grade 31st level strong attack spirit. But in less than 10 rounds, Shu Han easily defeated his opponent with his superb combat awareness. Bang! Ah! The opponent was knocked to the ground by Shu Han's sword, and the battle was over. Shu Han held the sword with one hand and pointed it at the other 2. Next. I'll do it. The next person gritted his teeth and was ready to be knocked down. The next 2 people had almost the same result. Shu Han also defeated the last 2 people within 10 moves without using solar skills or sword intent. At this moment, Shu Han's combat awareness and combat ability really made all the students feel terrified. It felt like the gap between a primary school student and a college student. And these students from the outer courtyard, some of them are powerful, but in fact they are very ordinary in combat ability. Because combat awareness and combat ability require a long period of growth and training accumulation. Even if a genius soul master, no matter how fast he practices, is young, it is not so easy to improve combat awareness. Therefore, in front of a top battle master like Shu Han, every move and every style of theirs is full of flaws, which makes it easier to defeat and knock him down. The third-year students are just so-so. Next, it's the seniors in the 4th grade. I hope they won't be too weak. Shu Han thought to himself and left silently. So far, he has not met an opponent that can make him want to fight. The third-year students are all defeated. This kid, will he challenge the seniors in the 4th grade next? It's very likely. He might beat through the entire grade of our outer courtyard and the strongest person in our outer courtyard. Fuck. Can he do it? Many people have gradually guessed Shu Han's intention. Zhu Sanqi also saw it. He has been eating melons these days, but now it seems that he has eaten melons. Because, he is currently one of the strongest students in the 4th grade. Zhu Sanqi suddenly felt pressured, but he was also very confident in his ability. Although he has not accepted the challenge yet, he has a hunch that it will be his turn soon. It seems that it is necessary to prepare in advance. Zhu Sanqi thought to himself and then left the fighting spirit area. As expected, 3 days later, Shu Han found the 4th grade school district and walked into the 4th grade teaching building. Here I am. Here I am. Shu Han is here. Quick. Tell Zhu Sanqi. And Pila Baby. After seeing Shu Han, the 4th graders went to 2 classes in 2 groups, one to find Zhu Sanqi and the other to find Pila Baby. These 2 are currently the 2 strongest in the 4th grade. This kid really dares to come. Upon learning of Shu Han's arrival, Zhu Sanqi and Pila Baby had already walked out of the classroom on their own accord to look for Shu Han, followed by a large group of 4th graders. After a while, on the 1st floor hall of the 4th grade teaching building, Shu Han was already standing in front of Zhu Sanqi, Pila Baby, and the hundreds of 4th graders following behind him. Senior Zhu Sanqi and Senior Pila Baby finally meet. Seeing the 2 people in front of him, Shu Han finally hit some fighting spirit. He had heard about them a little bit during this period of time. Because compared to the strongest students in the previous grades, to be honest, none of them were very famous, and were only famous in their own grades. Their strength was also not particularly strong. The 2 people in front of him were very famous in the entire outer courtyard. Shu Han had heard about Zhu Sanqi and Pila Baby for a long time. One of them was known as the strongest attacking martial spirit in the outer courtyard, and the other was known as the strongest defensive martial spirit in the outer courtyard, and they even had the title of Eternal Defensor. Both of them had top beast martial spirits, and their strength was also very outstanding. They were only in the 4th grade, but they had the combat power comparable to most of the students in the 6th grade. Very powerful. Therefore, Shu Han was quite interested in the 2 opponents in front of him, and they might be qualified to force him to use his soul skills. Brother Shu Han is here indeed. Are you here today to challenge the strongest student in our 4th grade? Yes, I have heard that Senior Zhu Sanqi and Senior Pila Baby are the strongest students in the 4th grade, and Shu Han is here to challenge them. Even when facing the 2 people opposite him and hundreds of 4th grade students standing behind him to cheer him on, Shu Han's aura was not weak at all. Oh, okay, we accept the challenge. Pila Baby sneered, and accepted Shu Han's challenge with Zhu Sanqi. However, let's set the time for a month later. We don't have much time during this period. A month. Shu Han frowned. Chapter 594 Shu Han vs. 4th grade Zhu Sanqi. The 2 of them did have some things to do during this period, and they also had to complete their studies. At the same time, they were about to break through the soul power level, and they thought about fighting after increasing their soul power by 1 level. After all, they were not absolutely sure that they could defeat Shu Han. 1 month later. Well, I'll wait for you. Shu Han shrugged indifferently, not minding waiting a little longer. He had been in school for less than 10 days and had already broken through. There was still a long time for the 2nd and 3rd grades, and there was no rush to break through the outer courtyard so quickly. In this way, Shu Han's battle with Zhu Sanqi and Pila Baby was scheduled for a month later. So Shu Han spent all his experience during this period to help improve Yu Yao's strength. Now Yu Yao's strength was too weak, and Shu Han was really worried that this guy would be eliminated by the Wihun Hall Academy one day. Time was fast, and it was almost a month later. The time for Shu Han to challenge Zhu Sanqi and Pila Baby in the 4th grade was coming soon. There was only 1 month and 20 days left before the 3-month freshman assessment. In the more than 1 month since he entered school, Liu now has grown quite fast. His physique and physical strength have gradually caught up with the first-year students, and his combat awareness and ability have made a qualitative leap. His combat awareness alone has surpassed most of the first-year students. With the transformation of the Qian Renxue silkworm, his training speed, qualifications, and talents have also begun to become faster. With the help of Xu Han and the assistance of some training resources, his soul power has been raised from level 12 to the peak of level 13. It will take less than half a month to break through level 14. The speed of soul power improvement is also very fast, almost a terrifying speed of raising 1 level of soul power in a month. Liu now has also gradually become stronger from a small transparent person, and even the bottom of the class, and has begun to surpass a small number of second ring soul masters in the first class. With the soul power of the first ring at level 13, he defeated the soul master of the second ring at level 21. Although this kind of performance is not abnormal, it is also very amazing. The reason why Liu was able to defeat some second ring spirit masters with his first ring 13th level spirit power was because he learned combat skills from Xu Han, as all the students in class 1 knew. Many students wanted to ask Xu Han for advice on combat skills, and some even offered to hire Xu Han as a combat teacher. Unfortunately, Xu Han would not teach anyone except Liu. Today, it was finally the day when Xu Han challenged the strongest 4th-year student, the strongest defensive spirit Zhu Sanqi, and the strongest offensive spirit of the outer courtyard, Pila Baby. It's finally starting. First-year student Xu Han is going to challenge the 2 4th-year students in our outer courtyard. Exciting. Exciting. Hurry up. Hurry up. Take a seat. It's definitely full tonight. If you go late, there will be no seat. Yes, let's go first. The battle time was 7 o'clock, but just at 6 o'clock, the seats for watching the battle in the fighting spirit area were almost full. Basically, they came here after finishing their classes for the day and eating. It was extremely popular. Liu now also grasped the business opportunity, starting from when Xu Han challenged the 3rd-year students. Every time Xu Han challenged, he would set up a stall and sell grilled fish on the food street that was a must-see on the way to the Douluo area. There were a lot of people on the days when Xu Han challenged, and a lot of students liked to buy some food and watch the game while eating. Liu Yao's grilled fish skills were very good, and it could be considered one of the delicious foods on this street. Therefore, every time he made a lot of money, he could earn the income from setting up a stall for several days in just one day. Because of the accumulated wealth, he also saved time for cultivation. After selling out, the game was about to start, so he went to the Douluo area to watch the game. When Liu Yao arrived at the Douluo area, the spectator seats were already full. He didn't care, he just stood on the platform at the edge as a spectator. Moreover, this angle also allowed him to see the situation of the entire scene, and how many powerful and awesome students came to watch the game. He found that today there were not only students from the 1st to 6th grades of the outer courtyard, but also a large number of inner courtyard students. The uniforms of the inner courtyard students are different from those of the outer courtyard students, and it can be seen at a glance. I didn't expect that today's battle between Xu Han and the 2 4th-year seniors would actually attract a large number of inner courtyard students. Liu Yao thought secretly. But he didn't know that in this fighting spirit area, there was actually a core student of the core courtyard hidden. This person was Qian Renxue, the young master of the current wooden hall. Recently, Xu Han's affairs have been a hot topic. Curious Qian Renxue planned to come and see how powerful Xu Han was. She wore a black dress and a hat, so she was not recognized. At this moment, on the fighting stage, Xu Han looked at the 2 people in front of him and said, 2 seniors, who will go first? The 2 looked at each other, and it seemed that neither of them intended to go on stage first, because they did not have the confidence to absolutely grasp the real Xu Han. So, they wanted the other one to go first to see if they could fool Xu Han's soul skills and moves, so that the other one would be more confident. But both of them had this plan. If they insisted, it would be a bit embarrassing if no one said to go first, and they would seem to be very cowardly. So they both said at the same time, I'll go first. They looked at each other again. Seeing this, Xu Han randomly chose one and said, then let's go senior brothers Zhu Sanqi. Okay, then I'll fight you first. Xu Han. The strongest in the outer courtyard. Eternal defensor, Sanqi is invincible. The audience outside the station has begun to cheer fiercely. Zhu Sanqi is very famous, and it can be seen that there are many students cheering. But recently Xu Han has become very popular, and his reputation has long been the most popular in the outer courtyard of the Spirit Hall Academy. Eternal Defensor, I have heard that senior brothers Yu Sanshi is the strongest defensive spirit in the outer courtyard. I am looking forward to whether my magic sword can break your defensor. Xu Han said eagerly. Ha, if you want to break my defensor, you are still a little naive. Yu Sanshi smiled faintly, and was very confident in his defensor. He might lose to Xu Han, but if the defensor is completely broken, he thinks it is impossible. Come on. Martial Soul Possession. Mysterious Nether Turtle. Roar. Yu Sanshi released his martial soul directly, and a huge black turtle appeared behind him. The skin and tortoise shell of the martial soul looked thick and fleshy. The appearance alone made people feel very solid. It's really not simple. Xu Han had also released the magic sword martial soul. After his magic sword martial soul was sealed, it was downgraded from the god level to the top weapon martial soul. Chapter 595. Mysterious Turtle. Yu Sanshi's strongest defensor, but even the current demon sword martial soul is a top weapon martial soul, and is not weaker than Yu Sanshi's martial soul strength. I'm curious whether your mysterious nether turtle martial soul is stronger, or the diamond mammoth martial soul of the elephant armor sect is stronger? Xu Han suddenly asked. His mother Qian Renxue once told him about the mortal world, as well as the spirit masters' forces and sects in the mortal world at the time, and some powerful spirits. Xu Han remembered that Qian Renxue mentioned the defensive spirits of Douluo Continent and the diamond mammoth martial soul of the elephant armor sect. It was the top defensive spirit at the time, and there was also a plate armor giant rhinoceros of the Ai clan. These two spirits were almost the strongest defensive spirits at the time, and of course there was a stronger spirit, the bone dragon. However, there was only one spirit like the bone dragon, that was the bone Douluo of the year, but as long as it was a spirit of a single spirit master, it would not be named the strongest by the domain name. Because when the spirit master died, the spirit was gone, and it was only strong for one era. However, the current Qian sect and Yaya clan have long since declined, and are no longer one of the 7 major sects and top spirit master families that were at their peak in the past. Now the population is sparse, and the sect and family have declined. There are not many people left. From the sect and family, they have now become individual investors. But they still have descendants to this day. Now there are 2 descendants of Qian sect and Yaya clan in the inner courtyard of the Wooden Hall Academy. Yu Sanshi heard it and explained generously. In today's continent, except for those rare spirits that exist alone by individual spirit masters, like Chu Ye Turtle, Plate Armor Giant Rhino, and Diamond Mammoth are the 3 strongest defensive beast spirits. But to some extent, my Chu Ye Turtle is a little stronger than them. Really? I look forward to the battle between you and me. Xu Han said no more, and a fighting spirit ignited. Yu Sanshi's spirit power is 1 or 2 levels higher than Xu Han, but in a duel of this level, this difference in spirit power level is meaningless. It all depends on the strength of one's own ability. He waited for Xu Han to attack in a defensive posture. Xu Han tried the waters first and slashed at Yu Sanshi head on. Bang! Boom boom boom. Yu Sanshi easily blocked the sword. There was no doubt that this level of attack would not threaten Yu Sanshi if the opponent was defending head on. Since it was determined that he could not break the defensor when the opponent was prepared, Xu Han would not continue to try and waste time. He began to use his top-level combat skills and launched a fierce attack on Yu Sanshi. Yu Sanshi began to be completely suppressed. At first, he was able to resist Xu Han's attack, but as Xu Han continued to attack, every move of his was extremely delicate and coherent, without any unnecessary movements. Under the perfect attack, Yu Sanshi was finally defeated. He didn't even have time to defend himself before he was chopped away by Xu Han's sword. Bang! Aga! Yu Sanshi was chopped back 10 meters by the sword, leaving the sword wound, but it didn't have much impact. So strong. Only when you face him in person can you know how abnormal and terrifying this kid's fighting ability is. Even the fighting ability I have been practicing hard since I was 6 years old is like a weakling compared to him. Yu Sanshi was shocked and horrified. He believed that he was a genius. Whether it was his talent, martial spirit, or his own fighting ability, he was very advanced in all aspects of Soul Master understanding. He thought he was very strong and even had the qualifications to join the core members. But until he faced Xu Han, he realized that he was still far from being a true genius. Xu Han attacked again. This Yu Sanshi has something. His fighting ability is much stronger than the previous challenge. The weaker the fighting ability, the easier it is for Chu Han to defeat him. The stronger the fighting awareness, the more difficult it will be. Because when the opponent's soul master's fighting ability goes up, they will expose fewer weaknesses when fighting. The fewer weaknesses, the harder it will be to seize the opportunity and end it in one wave. Although in Chu Han's eyes, Zhu Sanqi's fighting ability is still very weak and still has many weaknesses, his defensive ability can make up for these partial shortcomings. First solar skill, Qian Shock. Bang. Zhu Sanqi's first solar skill is a range-type defensive repulsion skill, and it has a certain stun effect. If the opponent's cultivation is inferior to his, he will be dizzy when he is repulsed. Although Zhu Sanqi failed to stun Chu Han, he successfully forced Chu Han back and interrupted Chu Han's attack rhythm. Interesting. Chu Han's interest was aroused and he attacked again. But Zhu Sanqi had already started to act seriously. Second solar skill, Qian Shield Array. Split the Qian shield into multiple shields for multi-directional defense, and even have the effect of overlapping defense. At this moment, several shields surrounded Zhu Sanqi. No matter how Chu Han attacked, he could drive the shields for all-round defense. Bang 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 bang. No matter how Chu Han chopped, he could be blocked by Zhu Sanqi's defensive shield. He almost made up for all his weaknesses. As expected of the strongest defensive martial soul in the outer courtyard, it seems that he can't do without solar skills. Chu Han stopped attacking and shook his head helplessly. If it was the power of the sword of gods and demons, it would be able to break the shield defense, but the strength of the sword's martial spirit is always a little lower. Forget it, then use the solar skill. Zhu Sanqi swallowed his throat. Is it finally come in? Here it comes. Chu Han is finally going to use his solar skill. Zhu Sanqi successfully forced Chu Han to use his solar skill. The whole audience was already excited. Although Chu Han had fought many battles, he had never exposed his solar skills during the freshman admission. Even Chu Ye, the head teacher of Class 1, had never seen him use his solar skills. Qian Yu's expression in the audience also changed slightly. The battle just now had made her, a genius of the core member and the young master of the Spirit Hall, feel inferior to Chu Han in terms of combat ability. At this moment, the yellow soul ring under Chu Han's feet emerged. Second solar skill, the body of gods and demons. Chu Han directly activated his own strengthening and amplification skills. All-round improvement. Chu Han's figure flashed. The next second. Attack at high speed. So fast. Zhu Sanqi's face changed drastically, and he immediately defended himself, but this time Chu Han released a large amount of soul power and injected it into the magic sword. The power was already different from before. Bang. Boom. What? A shield was chopped off by Chu Han's sword on the spot, breaking the defense of the Qian shield for the first time. Zhu Sanqi was also repelled by the sword. First solar skill, magic sword slash. Not good. Overlap defense. Zhu Tianqi directly moved all the remaining shields to the same line, and stacked the shields for defense. This defense would be several times stronger. But as Chu Han's terrifying magic sword energy slashed, it attacked. Bang, bang, bang. The stacked shields in front of him were shattered one by one, and all the shields were shattered. Chapter 596. The vulnerable Thunderbolt Baby. Zhu Sanqi's shield was completely shattered, but the power of the magic sword was also neutralized. That was close. Zhu Sanqi panicked, but he quickly released his second solar skill again. Qian Shield Formation. Then, third solar skill, Qian Power. When he enters the awakening state, all solar skills will carry the imprint of the mythical beast Qian, which will cause the solar skills to mutate and become stronger. A huge water element will also condense around him, and the behavior is similar to the existence of the field. Zhu Sanqi's full defensor is his strongest defensor in this situation. Interesting, brother Zhu Sanqi, you are really a good opponent. Seeing the scene in front of him, Chu Han's eyes finally flashed a trace of excitement, and his blood boiled a little. But unfortunately, you still can't defend me. This mood should also end. Chu Han rushed over again, and the next second, the 9,000-year-old thousand-year soul ring under his feet finally used. Third solar skill, Magic Sword Phantom. In an instant, Chu Han split into countless clones and phantoms, which dazzled Zhu Sanqi, and he didn't know how to defend at all. But he realized that the crisis was coming. Chu Han's real body had already passed through Zhu Sanqi's heavy defense and stabbed at Zhu Sanqi. Bang. Boom. Ah. Zhu Sanxi's mouth gushed blood, and he was finally seriously injured and fell to the ground. The battle is over. Zhu Sanxi, defeated. He actually defeated me with one move in my strongest defensive posture. Zhu Sanxi's mouth was bleeding, and he was convinced. Just now, what was that? This kind of soul skill has that kind of power, is it? Is it the effect that an ordinary 1,000-year soul ring of more than 1,000 years can achieve? So strong. Too strong. Qian Renxue was also stunned. This third soul skill, even if I want to block it, it may be very difficult. Pilot Baby looked uncomfortable. It's over, this move. I feel that I will be killed instantly. I lost. Zhu Sanxi said helplessly. Shu Han took the initiative to help Zhu Sanxi up. Zhu Sanxi said, thank you. Then he walked off the stage and said to Pilot Baby, be careful, this kid is too strong. Don't lose too embarrassingly. Pilot Baby walked off the stage with a serious face. Junior Shu Han, I'll give you an hour to recover. No need, just come directly. Shu Han shook his head. Pilot Baby frowned and said unhappily, my strength is not weaker than Zhu Sanxi. The battle just now has consumed a lot of your energy. Are you sure you want to face me directly? Well, come on, senior. Shu Han nodded lightly. Pilot Baby was a little unhappy. He said coldly, in this case, if you lose, don't blame me for winning unfairly. Martial Spirit Possession. Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex. Roar. ZZZZZ. A huge dragon flashing with lightning appeared behind Pilot Baby. Is this the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial soul? Shu Han's face changed, and he thought to himself, wasn't the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family destroyed by the Spirit Hall? This kind of martial soul has been passed down to the present. Could it be that there are still remnants of Blue Lightning that have not been extinct? Take it. Pilot Baby didn't waste any words, and he had already killed Shu Han while he was thinking. Third soul skill, Thunder Fury. Pilot Baby's instantaneous attack effect increased by more than 50%, and his lightning attribute increased several times. Pilot Baby directly entered the strongest state. He attacked madly with a fierce momentum. Here. Shu Han smiled faintly, and also decisively released his solar skills. Second solar skill, God and Demon Body. He also started his own strengthening and amplification skills, and then killed Pilot Baby. He started a fierce fight with the strongest offensive martial soul in the outer courtyard. The Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial soul is overbearing and has great damage. In addition, the lightning attribute is a very damaging elemental attribute. Pilot Baby's attack was indeed fierce, but compared to the lethality, the magic sword martial soul was stronger. The magic sword was not only powerful and damaging, but also hit strong armor-breaking and penetrating power. Facing the martial soul of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex, Shu Han's magic sword martial soul, which was downgraded after being sealed, was also not weak. The two sides were almost evenly matched in strength, but after the battle, Pilot Baby was completely crushed. Pilot Baby was being suppressed and chopped by Shu Han crazily. Bang 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 bang. It was obviously a completely crushing situation. Damn it. Pilot Baby's face was ugly, and a yellow soul ring appeared under his feet. First solar skill, Thunder Dragon Claw. A blue-purple lightning about 1 foot long, condensed into a dragon claw, shot out. Shu Han easily avoided it with a few steps, and quickly attacked with the magic sword in his hand. What? You actually dodged it. Pilot Baby was shocked and took precautions in time, but was severely injured and split by Shu Han's sword. Bang. Pilot Baby screamed, his face horrified. Damn it, why is the gap between him and me so big? We are no match at all. Second solar skill, Thunderbolt. Ha! Shu Han. I don't believe this move can't hurt you. Get down. Countless snakes of electricity magnified at the same time, turning into lightning arrows flashing in the air, and then densely spread into a thunder net, covering Shu Han in all directions. Hehe, this attack seems invulnerable, but unfortunately, it still can't hurt me. Shu Han only took a look and found a way to crack it. The yellow soul ring under his feet rose instantly. First solar skill, Magic Sword Slash. Shu Han released the power of this move to the maximum, attacking the center and top of the power grid. The sword energy slash was released and slashed towards the power grid. It did not completely break the power grid, but it also cut a crack. The crack was very small, but it was only enough for a human body to pass through it. Yeah. Shu Han smiled confidently. The next second, he jumped up and spun 360 degrees in the air. He passed through the electric net in an instant with great skill. At that moment, he swung a sword to attack Pilot Baby. Hoaxu! Bang! Boom boom boom! Ah! Pilot Baby was knocked away by Shu Han's frontal sword and fell to the ground. When he wanted to stand up again, Shu Han's cold magic sword was already pointing at his neck. You're lost, Senior Ba. How could I lose to him so easily? Pilot Baby was hit hard and found it difficult to accept his failure. The main reason was that he saw Zhu Sanshi fighting so fiercely with Shu Han just now, but he himself was so unbearable. Did he win? The audience also looked unbelievable. They couldn't imagine why Pilot Baby lost so badly. How could this be? Pilot Baby's strength is not inferior to Zhu Sanshi's. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 597. Sure Demon Pig. The Sure God who was cast into the path of Animal Pig by Chu Ye awakens his past life memories. But Zhu Sanshi was able to fight with Shu Han for a long time, but why is it so different when it comes to Senior Ba? Yes. Why is Senior Ba so vulnerable? Many students around couldn't understand why Pilot Baby was so miserable. Qian, who was watching the battle, heard the puzzled and confused exchanges of the students from the outer courtyard around her, and explained. Zhu Sanshi has excellent defensive ability. His defensive soul skills make up for the shortcomings of his own combat ability and can block Shu Han's superb combat ability output. Naturally, he is not so easy to defeat. And Pilot Baby's combat ability, although it is also strong, is still like Gong in front of Shu Han. It is completely incomparable. Although the attack ability is strong, it can't hurt the opponent, and it can't defend against Shu Han's offensive. So, this is also the reason why Pilot Baby looks more vulnerable than Zhu Sanshi. Any strong attacking soul master of the same level will probably be crushed in all directions when facing Shu Han. Qian finished speaking, and the next second, she stood up and left. That makes sense. Watching Qian's back as she left, the students around were stunned. Who is this girl? She sounds like she's very powerful. Everyone also realized that the key to winning or losing lies in the types and types of soul masters, as well as the restraint in their abilities. As we all know, soul masters are divided into strong attack, agile attack, control, defensor, auxiliary, long-range attack, etc. 10,000 years later, there are more types of soul masters, such as spiritual, illusionary soul masters, and various types of soul masters. But there is also a saying that there is restraint between soul masters. For example, it is easier for control to beat strong attack, and it is easier for agile attack to beat control, etc. Not counting the types of soul masters, there are also restraints between each soul master. Depending on their own abilities and soul skills, facing different opponents, there will be situations where they are easier to beat, and more difficult to beat. Shu Han has a powerful and lethal magic sword martial soul, plus that exquisite and invincible fighting ability that seems invincible among all students. He is the absolute nemesis of all strong attack soul masters. Any attacking spirit master who relies on close combat will become weaker when facing Shu Han. In Qian's opinion, perhaps only controller spirit masters can beat Shu Han better. Because controller spirit masters rely more on spirit skills, as well as the use and control of martial spirits, and do not need to have too strong combat capabilities. In this way, Zhu Sanshi and Pilot Baby, who were known as the strongest defensive spirit and the strongest attacking spirit in the outer courtyard, were eventually defeated by Shu Han and became the stepping stones for Shu Han to become the strongest in the outer courtyard. After this battle, Pilot Baby's blue dot Tyrannosaurus Rex spirit, known as the strongest in the outer courtyard, changed the title of attacking spirit and became Shu Han's magic sword spirit. Next, Shu Han continued to challenge the 5th and 6th grade students. There is no strongest in these two age groups. There are several people with equal strength, and Shu Han challenged them one by one. In less than a week, all the 5th graders were knocked down. Then continued to the 6th grade. At the 6th grade stage of the Wuhan Hall Academy's outer courtyard, the strength of the students is very high, and there are even older students who are close to 25 years old. The strongest ones in the 6th grade are between 22 and 24 years old, and their soul power is at the peak of the 3rd ring, the 39th level. Not only are their soul powers very high, but because they are very old, their combat capabilities are also stronger. Their understanding and control of the martial soul are all better than the younger geniuses. Because they are old, it also means that they have practiced for a long time and have more experience. As the saying goes, the old is still the spicier. But the real genius will not stay in the outer courtyard for so long, and the powerful ones have long been promoted to the inner courtyard. Unfortunately, when Chu Han challenged the 6th grade, no one could stop him. They were still defeated one by one and fell one by one. When he challenged the 6th grade, he finally came to the peak battle of the outer courtyard. In the end, Chu Han's 3rd soul skill ended his opponent. The outer courtyard has been penetrated. No one will be his opponent. As a freshman, he penetrated the outer courtyard and became a legend of the outer courtyard. It was exactly 2 months after Chu Han entered the school. In just 2 months, he had already stood at the top of the outer courtyard and became the strongest in the outer courtyard. Now, not only the outer courtyard, but also the inner courtyard, all the teachers and students of the core members have paid attention to Chu Han, and Chu Han's name has also resounded throughout the Wuhan Hall Academy. Everyone began to look forward to whether Chu Han would continue to challenge and target the inner courtyard. The students in the inner courtyard were also ready to move. Among them, there were also a large number of geniuses. Although they knew that Chu Han's combat ability was very powerful. However, there were many 4 and Soul Master level strongmen in the inner courtyard. They would not think that they would lose with a 1 difference. But for a period of time, Chu Han did not show any signs of challenging the inner courtyard students, because there was only 1 month left before the freshman assessment. He planned to do his best to help Chu Ye now improve his strength. After all, Chu Han did not know the current rules of the freshman assessment and how to form a team. Worried that Chu Ye would be eliminated, he planned to spare time to strengthen Chu Ye's combat power. Wait until the freshman exam is over before continuing to challenge. At the same time, in the inner area of the Qingdou Great Forest, a black giant pig with an extremely ferocious appearance and full of demonic energy was frantically devouring a 30,000-year-old human-faced demon spider. When the energy of the human-faced demon spider was devoured by the giant demon pig, the giant demon pig's cultivation level broke through to 50,000 years on the spot. Roar. Roar. It was also when he broke through the 50,000-year cultivation level that the giant demon pig suddenly became extremely violent and manic. It screamed and roared like crazy on the spot, looking very painful and uncomfortable. A few minutes later, the giant demon pig suddenly became quiet again, and its eyes changed instantly. The pig's eyes seemed to be filled with wisdom in an instant. That look was not like that of a beast, not like the eyes of a pig-like soul beast. Instead, it was like the eyes of a person, a look full of wisdom and majesty. Roar. The demonic energy on the demon pig began to change, and was filled with the power of killing. Its entire aura seemed to become more powerful and terrifying. In an instant, the power seemed to expand several times. The demon pig's eyes were instantly filled with boundless anger, rage, and resentment. 10,000 years. For a full 10,000 years, I, the most powerful human god king in the god realm, Sure God. I was actually beaten into the path of a beastly pig by the kid Chu Ye. I have been reincarnated as a pig in shame for hundreds of lifetimes. Damn it. It's really hateful. Chapter 598 Ashura God's Revenge Plan. This demon pig, whose cultivation broke through to 50,000 years and suddenly awakened the power of killing, is called Shura Demon Pig. That's right, he was the strongest human god king in the god realm back then, who was sent to the animal pig path by Chu Ye and reincarnated from generation to generation. He is the reincarnation of Shura God after experiencing hundreds of reincarnations in the pig path. Before being sent to the animal pig path, Shura God used some means to set up a kind of power for himself. A power that may awaken the memory of the previous life. So, when Shura Demon Pig's cultivation broke through 50,000 years just now, it finally awakened the memory of the previous life, and the memory of hundreds of reincarnations in the previous life, all recalled. The memory of the previous hundreds of lives seemed to be countless fragments, entering the brain of the current Shura Demon Pig, Shura God. The memory seemed to flash one by one in the mind like a picture. The first life of Shura God after being sent to the animal pig path by Chu Ye. Shura God was reincarnated as an ordinary domestic pig, a pig raised by a farmer in the village for human consumption. Born from a pig mother's belly, there are 3 brothers and sisters. They were kept in the pig cage by farmers and grew up in a pig pen full of pig manure. They ate leftovers that even dogs wouldn't eat. When Shura God grew up and became fat, he was slaughtered and eaten by the farmer during the Chinese New Year. The pork was sliced, cut into pieces, and cooked or made into bacon. In the first life of Shura God, like countless ordinary domestic pigs, his final fate was to be eaten. In the second life of Shura God, he was also a domestic pig, but it was indeed a pig farm that specialized in raising pigs. In this life, the pig farm got swine fever, and Shura God died of swine fever before he had time to grow up. In the next 100 or so lives, Shura God was a domestic pig. He was born, grew up, and was eaten. He was reincarnated like this for more than 100 lives. Until the 150th life, Shura God had a little better luck and was reincarnated as an ordinary wild boar. He lived freely in the mountains, and when he was about to die in his old age, he was shot by a hunter who ended up the mountain with an arrow, and eventually he could not escape the fate of being eaten. It was not until the 180th life that Shura God was finally reincarnated into a soul beast pig. However, the pig soul beast with very weak bloodline was hunted and absorbed by a 10th level soul master boy just after practicing for 10 years. In the next few hundred lives, Shura God gradually changed from a domestic pig to a soul beast pig. The probability of reincarnation increased, but basically he could not escape the fate of being hunted by humans and turned into a soul ring, or being eaten by other soul beasts. Finally, in this life, Shura God was reincarnated into a demon pig with good bloodline equality. This kind of demon pig soul beast is already relatively powerful among all pig soul beasts. After 3,000 years of practice, the demon pig's cultivation broke through 1,000 years. It was also when it broke through 1,000 years that the demon pig accidentally ate a superb fairy grass in the Qingdou Great Forest. The blood of this demon pig began to evolve, and eventually evolved into the Shura demon pig. After becoming the Shura demon pig, its cultivation speed became faster and stronger. And its character became extremely cruel and bloody, and it became an evil soul beast, which could become stronger by constantly absorbing the energy of hunting other soul beasts. Therefore, the Shura demon pig's cultivation began to increase wildly in the next few thousand years, and it was even faster than the dark demon evil god tiger, which also practiced by devouring other soul beasts. Until today, 10,000 years later, the Shura demon pig broke through the 50,000-year cultivation and finally awakened the memory of the past life. The Shura God is back. Recalling the hundreds of reincarnations in the previous life, being a domestic pig and being slaughtered and eaten in various ways, and being a soul beast and being eaten in various ways, hunted, and reincarnated in shame for hundreds of lives, this was extremely shameful, ashamed, and angry for the Shura God who was high above at the time. Every reincarnation made him unbearable. Being a pig itself was an extremely shameful and insulting thing. Dragon God Chu Ye. Just wait. I, Shura God, will never give up. Even if I become a pig soul beast. One day, I will cultivate to become a god, and kill you in the god realm. I, Shura God, will never coexist with you. I will destroy everything about you. When I cultivate to the level of 100,000 years, the first thing I will destroy is the spirit hall you left in this immortal realm. I will completely destroy this spirit hall. Shura demon pig Shura God could not be angry, and roared loudly with resentment. Revenge. He wants revenge. After awakening the memory of his previous life, Shura God began his revenge plan. But at the moment, his strength is too weak, with only 50,000 years of cultivation. However, although he only has 50,000 years of cultivation, after awakening the memory of Shura God's previous life, he also awakened the power of killing. The current Shura demon pig, with only 50,000 years of cultivation, is almost equivalent to the combat power of an ordinary 100,000-year soul beast. Through Shura God's own secret method and cultivation method, he began to gradually change the blood of the Shura demon pig. Let it gradually control the Shura blood of his previous life after the transformation. When the Shura demon pig completely possesses the Shura blood, the Shura demon pig with 50,000 years of cultivation will be directly comparable to the powerful 100,000-year soul beasts of Deming and Erming. Just like the dark demon evil god tiger, it can challenge Deming and Erming alone, with such terrifying combat power. Now Shura God has to continue to devour and become stronger quickly, and after the cultivation breaks through 100,000 years, he will transform and cultivate again. Shura God was originally high above, the top human god king. How could he be willing to continue to cultivate in the form of a pig? In addition, after transforming and recultivating in human form, he can cultivate to the peak level of 99 inches just a few decades. At the time, he can be a target for revenge and destroy the Wooden Hall. Spirit Hall. Wait for me. I, God Shura, will be the first to completely destroy you on this continent and remove you from the list. After that, it will be the God realm. God Shura stared at the sky fiercely, and disappeared in the next second. He didn't dare to enter the core area of the Stardew Great Forest, because God sure knew that there were several terrifying beasts in the core area. They were all Chu Ye's former subordinates. If those beasts discovered the Sure aura on their bodies, they would probably be killed by Imparatian's group of beasts. What God sure didn't know was that at this moment, Chu Ye's son Chu Han was training in the Douluo mortal realm. Soon, a month later, the day of the Spirit Hole's freshman assessment is coming. There are only 3 days left before the freshman assessment. At this moment, all the students in the first grade class 1 gathered in the church, waiting for Chu Ye to announce the rules of the freshman assessment. Chu Han also sat in his seat today. After a while, Chu Ye walked in with a serious face, glanced at Chu Han in the seat, and muttered in his heart, "This kid finally came to class." Chapter 599. Freshman assessment is come in, 3-person team competition. I haven't seen this guy for almost half a month, right? Chu Ye moistened his throat, and then said loudly, "The freshman assessment will start in 3 days. All students listen, only those who pass the freshman assessment can continue to study in the Wuhan Hall Academy. I emphasize again. Only those who pass the freshman assessment can continue to study in the Wuhan Hall Academy and become students of the academy. Now I announce the rules of the freshman assessment. The assessment will be conducted in a team battle in the form of 3 people. Each group of students must fight at least 10 battles. According to the ranking of wins, the opponents of the battle will be drawn by lot. There are a total of 400 groups of freshmen this year, but only 200 groups of students can pass the assessment. The remaining 200 groups of students who do not pass the assessment will leave the academy. In other words, the elimination rate of the freshman assessment is 50%. Chu Ye's voice sounded one by one. What? A 50% elimination rate? This probability is too high. That is, half will be eliminated and half will pass the assessment. It's over. This difficulty is too great. As soon as this was said, most of the students in class 1 were a little panicked and worried. Basically, the elimination rate of 50% is too high. Except for some strong students, most students are actually of similar strength. For most students, it is a very dangerous situation. In addition, among the 200 groups of students who advance, the first 64 groups of student teams will participate in the next stage of the elimination round. The top 4 teams in the final elimination round will receive rewards from the academy. Chu Ye said. Then teacher, how do you form a team of 3? Some students asked immediately. Chu Ye replied, choose from our classmates and form a team freely. Free team formation is good, that's good. Some students with stronger strength in the class were relieved immediately. But those students with the lowest strength and grades were panicked and felt that they were going to be in trouble. There is no doubt that in this kind of freshman assessment, everyone's main goal must be to stay and complete the assessment. Therefore, strong students will definitely join forces with strong students, while some weak students may not have anyone wanting to form a team, and finally some weak students who were not chosen by anyone will be left to form a team together. In this way, this group of weak students will inevitably be eliminated. A 2-tier differentiation is formed, the strong team will be stronger, and the weak team will be weaker, unless the personnel are very good and have good partners they know, they can bring some to join and hang out with the big guys. This kind of free grouping is also very reasonable for the academy, because the elimination rate is as high as 50%. If it is not a free team formation, it is possible that a strong student will lead 2 very weak students, and then this very strong student will be dragged down and eliminated. As a result, the academy loses a talented student. But in the case of free team formation, there will basically be no situation where outstanding students are eliminated, unless this strong student insists on committing suicide and lets 2 rookies. Therefore, the freshman assessment is also a game where the strong survive and the weak are eliminated. Free team formation. That's fine. Chu Han was relieved to hear that it was a free team formation. He walked directly in front of Yu Yao and said, Yu Yao, you and I will form a team together. Yu Yao smiled and said, okay, Chu Han, I won't hold you back. This time, I should let everyone see the results of your special training for me during this period. Okay. Yu Yao, with my current strength, playing the freshman assessment can be said to be a dimensionality reduction attack. This time, you should make more moves in the freshman assessment. If you can't beat me, fighting with different soul masters will also make you more insightful. Chu Han smiled. The 2 looked at each other and communicated. At this moment, the middle school students in the class have begun to find people to form teams. Just as expected, those students with good strength began to join forces, and the students at the bottom were ignored. Liu asked, Shu Han, the freshman assessment is a 3-person team. Now we are still short of 1 person in our team. Do you have a choice? It doesn't matter, it's all right, right? Shu Han shrugged indifferently. In his opinion, it didn't matter who the 3rd person was, anyway, he would win. At this moment, a large number of students, both the weakest and the strongest, were walking towards Shu Han and Liu. Several weak students pleaded, Shu Han, Liu, your team is still short of 1 person, can you let me join? Please, I'm weak and no one in my class would choose me. If I don't join a strong team, I will be eliminated. I don't want to be eliminated, and I don't want to leave the Spirit Hall Academy. Can you let me join you? Shu Han, you are so strong, you can definitely complete the assessment with me alone. Several weak students pleaded. At this time, several powerful students stood up and said, Shu Han, Liu is only a 1-ring spirit master. Although he is not the last in our class, he is not strong either. If you take another student who is the last in our class, it will not be good, right? With your strong strength, you can complete the freshman assessment, which is naturally no problem for you. But if you want to win the championship, it will be difficult to take 2 weak students. How about considering me? I'm the 3rd in personal combat power in the class. The student said confidently. Dao, what do you think? Shu Han looked at the group of students in front of him, some weak and some strong. If Shu Han doesn't have the candidate he wants, I have a good candidate here, but he is not among them. Liu thought for a while and said, Is that so? Shu Han understood, nodded and said to the group of students in front of him, Sorry, everyone, we have a candidate. This is a pity. Everyone sighed and left on their own initiative. So who is your candidate? Shu Han asked. Liu smiled and pointed to Xiao who was sitting quietly not far away. Yes, that's her. Girl. She looks petite and fragile, what's so special about her? Shu Han asked. Judging from her appearance, she is small and cute, not very strong. Shu Han rarely came to class, so it was normal that he didn't know the students in the class. Liu patiently explained. Her name is Xiao, and she is a twin martial artist. Twin martial artists? Interesting, there are actually twin martial artists in our class. Shu Han was obviously hearing about it for the first time and was a little surprised. Well, she has 2 martial arts souls. One is called Sun Xing's Hinhunding, which can control, defend, assist, and attack. It's pretty powerful. Chapter 600. Twin Spirits, Xiao, Shu Han, Liu, Xiao team up. Xiao's second martial soul is called 9 Phoenixes Arriving Flute. She hasn't used this martial soul much, so I don't know much about it. She is currently majoring in the 3 lives soul suppressing cauldron martial soul. I think her abilities and all aspects are very suitable for us. Her soul power is not low, with a soul power of level 25. Liu now explained. As the class monitor, he actually knows the situation in his class better than other students. Xiao, okay, then let's go with her. Shu Han nodded. Xiao is currently a girl who looks very cute. She is introverted and shy. She is not the kind of person who likes to show off in the class, and her social skills are not strong. Therefore, although her abilities and strength are actually good, she is not a very powerful person to the students in the class. But in the impression of the class, she is also in the upper middle level, so during this period, some powerful teams also approached Xiao, but Xiao rejected them one by one. She is waiting for a team, waiting to see if they will find her. And the person Xiao is waiting for is the team that Shu Han and Liu are in. She wanted to wait and see. If Shu Han and Liu really didn't come to find her, she would have to join another team. But at this moment, Xiao suddenly saw Shu Han and Liu walking towards her. Are they here to find me? Really? I'm suddenly so nervous. What should I do? Seeing Shu Han and Liu getting closer and closer, Xiao blushed inexplicably. She lowered her head, a little shy and coquettish. She sat with her legs turned inward, her hands on her thighs, pinching her hands back and forth, very nervous. It was not until Shu Han and Liu stood in front of Xiao that Xiao was sure. She was very happy and excited. Xiao, are you willing to team up with us? Liu asked. Yes. Xiao stood up instantly and responded very decisively. Her petite body and rosy face looked very cute. Shu Han smiled and said, then our team is complete. Welcome to join. In this way, the three of them formed a team. Soon, the students in Class 1 also successfully formed teams one after another. When Zhao Ye saw Shu Han, Douluo Dalu, and Xiao Xiao teaming up together, she nodded secretly in her heart. These three students are actually the focus of Zhao Ye, and she is quite satisfied with this combination. Shu Han is so powerful that he is a genius, and he will definitely be a potential stock to join the core members in the future. Douluo Dalu is not strong at present, but he has grown rapidly in 3 months, which makes Zhao Ye feel amazing. He is also a student with extremely high talent in soul mentoring. And the last one, Xiao Xiao, is a twin spirit master with very good conditions in all aspects, and his future ceiling is actually very high. These three people will grow up in the future. Talents of the Spirit Hall Academy. With Shu Han leading this kid, there is basically no problem for their group to win the championship in this freshman assessment. I hope he won't let me down. Zhao Ye thought to herself. Although Douluo Dalu and Xiao Xiao are not very outstanding among the freshmen at present. But Shu Han is too terrifying, and with him, there is still a very high probability of winning the championship. But it is not certain. After all, this was a 3-person team battle. If Shu Han, Douluo Dalu, and Xiao Xiao had no coordination or even affected each other, they would miss the championship. After all, team battles require coordination and tacit understanding. If 3 plus 3 cooperated well, the effect would be far greater than 3. Zhao Ye reminded, Shu Han, your personal strength is indeed very strong. You have even beaten the outer courtyard and become the strongest in the outer courtyard. But this is a team competition after all, not an individual battle. Don't be careless and underestimate the enemy. My goal for you is to get the first place in this freshman assessment. After that, Zhao Ye packed up the books. Okay, everyone, disperse. In the next 3 days, everyone will get to know each other well. In 3 days, the freshman assessment will officially begin. Get out of class dismissed. Although Shu Han was very confident, he did not take it too lightly and perfunctorily. He said to Xiao Xiao, Xiao Xiao, we are now a team, and you are also our teammate. Let's go to dinner together later. After dinner, let's find a place to get to know each other briefly. Oh, okay. Xiao Xiao was stunned for a moment, then clenched her little pink fist with a happy face and nodded. Let's go eat together. Yeah, Xiao Xiao nodded obediently, and followed behind Shu Han and Douluo Dalu obediently. The assessment will start soon. We have to make good use of the time to get familiar with each other. How about we do a pre-match drill after dinner and study the tactics? Douluo Dalu said excitedly. Okay. Let's go. The three of them went to have dinner together, and then went to find a deserted place. They got to know each other and discuss the battle plan. Just like that, originally there were only Shu Han and Douluo Dalu, but now there were 3 people in this academy. Shu Han, Douluo Dalu, Xiao Xiao. In the last 3 days, they got to know each other and gradually became friends. In 3 days, Shu Han also gave Xiao Xiao all-round combat guidance. 3 days of extreme special training for Xiao Xiao's combat ability. In just 3 days, Xiao Xiao's combat ability and consciousness have made a qualitative leap. The improvement in combat ability is amazing. Xiao Xiao was very happy, jumping up and down, saying, "Thank you, Shu Han, you are really amazing." After only 3 days of special training, I feel that my combat ability has been greatly enhanced. Douluo Dalu couldn't help but praise her. Xiao Xiao's combat ability has indeed grown amazingly. Shu Han, you are really a combat monster. You have improved Xiao Xiao's combat ability so much in 3 days. Xiao Xiao has solid basic skills and good innate comprehension. It is normal for her to make a qualitative leap with a little guidance. Shu Han said lightly. With his top combat awareness, he can instantly see the countless shortcomings of a combat rookie. As long as these shortcomings are corrected and the advantages are found for guidance, a student's grades can be instantly improved. Of course, this has to be targeted at poor students. Just like a student can only rely on 10 points in mathematics, as long as he specifically makes up for it, it is possible to go from 10 points to 60 points, which is a full improvement of 50 points. But if it is a 50-point foundation, it is difficult to improve 50 points, from 50 points to 100 points. That's the reason. The freshman assessment will begin tomorrow. Everyone, work hard. Our goal is only to win the championship. Shu Han said confidently, and then stretched out his mouth. Yes. Champion. Xiao Xiao was the first to put his palm on the back of Shu Han's palm, his face slightly red, and his eyes were secretly looking at Shu Han. Chu Ye now also put his hand up. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.